Hello, good evening, brothers and sisters, scribes, tribesmen, shamans. It's the 24th of May, 2019, allegedly, the year of our Lord, and we are set for a heavyweight hangout update, question and answer, boxing match, if you like, a round of. We're going to go with our brother Kevin here in the red corner. He's going to be adorning the gloves here of equity, and we're going to put the crown agent over in the blue corner with the gloves of common law. And yes, without further ado, we're going to give you an update about how we see things and what's going on. So we are going to get ready to rumble and crumble the walls of Babylon. Yes, we have got a lot to incorporate. We won't look at your messages until probably 45 minutes, an hour into. We will focus on what we need to focus on, and then we'll take the auxiliary, supplementary, what comes out of it, and feedback and updates and so forth. So we have to give, before we get in, Kev, relax a minute, we have to give some respect to all of the lost souls currently, that we are losing. And I'm aware today through the news casting service that there was some issues with a family in Sheffield. I think Sheffield 5, it said, and there was 5 sons and daughters involved in something that's pricked my ears up today. 2 lives have been lost. I think a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. They're investigating. I believe the mum and dad have been arrested. So to Sheffield and all of the cities where there are murders, alleged murders, little ones going. This is why we're here. We are the protectors. And I just wanted to say that it's not just Sheffield, but all over the realm. What's happening with the panorama that I believe was on at 9 o'clock tonight. And Theresa Dismay stepping down, the honey monster coming to his proverbial end, Boris and the likes of, I've got so much I want to touch on, but we will remain focused. And yes, we're going to let the Muhammad Ali of the realm here, in some respects, dance around the room now and introduce himself. And he's going to, Muhammad Ali is going to dance like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Kevin, it's over to you, my brother.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Evening, everybody.
Hello, Scribe.
Well,
yeah, sorry.
It's been a eventful couple of days, but just I'm still a bit gobsmacked, for want of a better term. Just in the last 2 or 3 hours, the stuff that's transpired is quite amazing. So, what I just would like to do, if you bear with me, is I just want to explain about the documents that are already posted, first of all, on the dotcom. Now, anybody that's seen the videos, I know that some of you have, some of you haven't, some of you saw them live, brilliant. But I have explained the document that's posted on SPLS Pro is for WCA assessment with Maximus. That's why the document mentions Maximus. But that is for a WCA assessment, nothing else. Okay. Now, during the broadcast, I've said to people, I've put it out there that everything could be adjusted because there's different companies, etc., etc. Well, what's come to light today, in the last couple of hours, literally, is somebody's been passing that document around, which is fair. That's fine, but they, for the totally wrong thing. They've been giving that to people for P.I.P. You can't use that for P.I.P. That is for WCA. That is why I always say we can make adjustments for whatever your situation is. It's basically the same. But what's transpired is there's a friend who's come to me a few days ago. There's 2 people came to me, but anyway, the second person that came to me, I've sent him a document. He's basically retyped it for whatever reason, sent it back to me, and it's totally confused me. I'm thinking, sure he said it was a PIP assessment. And yet all the stuff he's been given, is for Maximus. Well, Maximus don't do PIP. Maximus don't do PIP assessments. Maximus do work capability assessments. They do not do PIP. Atos do PIP, or Independent Assessment Services. That's who does PIP. So now I'm a little concerned that this person, I know who it is that's been giving the stuff out. And as I say, it's available for everybody. It's out there. So that's not the problem. But what I'm concerned about is if this guy has been giving that letter out to people and telling them to, basically use it, and they're using it for PIP, they're going to get sanctioned like that. Because you're writing about an American corporation that don't even deal with PIP. You actually will be only speaking to the French corporation that deal with PIP. So whoever's giving that out, and as I've always made it clear that is a WCA for Maximus. That's why it only mentions Maximus. It doesn't mention any other firms. You have to use different stuff for different entities. So I hope I'm not going to say any names. I was involved in the group a little while ago, but this guy's giving that paperwork out, and it amazes me that he's not even taken the time to possibly listen to one of the videos, listen to anything I've said to him in the past, and he's dishing that out to people for PIP. It won't work. One, mainly because you're writing to the wrong company.
The wrong corporation. Yeah.
Look at that and go, what's this nonsense? We're not Maximus, and throw it in the bin. Tell the DWP, boss, you're sanctioned. Job done. I'm telling you now. That's what happened. So this brings me up to what sort of happened this week. One of our brothers here tonight approached me. Oh, well, we've been chatting quite a while, but he approached me. And as I said, everything's evolving. All of our work's evolving all the time. Our documents evolve. We get new armor. We add it in. We take stuff out. So anyway,
they change.
Yeah, things you have to make changes. Move with the times. Down with the kids, man. Anyway, so anyway, this guy, lovely fella, not in a good way. So I produced this for him. Basically, it's the first one I produced. So I gave it to this guy who served it, and I've got to tell you that I was absolutely gobsmacked. He got back to me and he got a response. Now, let me just get into my third bit of technology. This is the response as it came back. So I'm going to read it out. Obviously, there's no details as such, but I'm going to read it out and then I'm going to translate it into English for you, okay? And tell you what this means. But this is stunning in the way that this is checkmate, clearly. So I'm going to read this out. Let me just get it to, I don't know, I was just put that on it. Right, okay. Dear Mr. X, I'm writing following the receipt of your letter on 21st of May 2000 with regards to your subject access request. To enable me to progress your request, can you please confirm in writing or by calling me on the telephone number below that you are happy for your request to be, sorry, I'm having to scroll across the screen, to be forwarded to the Department for Works and Pensions, DWP, as the data controller, for all claimant information relating to your personal independence payment. This will enable us to process your request and send you the required information. Okay, peeps? Let me translate that. please give us consent to send this to the DWP because we can't sanction you, but if we send it to them, they can. There's your translation. That is basically it. They're saying, please give us consent. We're in a corner.
Who's
Please
they?
give us consent.
Who's they? Who's asking for consent?
Atos. Atos are asking for consent to send that notice that we've served them, or this guy served them. So because Atos can't do anything to you. Atos can't sanction you. Atos can't share that because of the way we've written the letter. They can't share that. So there's that letter they've written says, please give us consent to send this to the DWP because you've screwed us and that we can't sanction you.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So we need your permission to send this to the DWP so that they can feck you up. That is what that means. So we sent a nice response. I'll read the response out to you. This is genuine. This was sent by email to Atos as a response to that, and it's headed notice of non-compliance. Okay, so it says this is email, so you don't have to bother writing letters back. You can email this because you're talking to the corporation straight to their customer services. So it's notice of non-compliance to DPA and GDPR 2018. And Dave, can you kill your mic?
All right, yeah, sorry.
How's that? That's better, right? Yeah, notice of non-compliance to DPA and GDPR 2018. To whom it will concern, on the 20th of the 4th, 2019, you were sent and received a data subject access request pursuant to Data Protection Act 2018 and General Data Protection Regulations 2018. You have failed to respond in the lawfully allotted time. As a courtesy, we now give you a further 7 days to comply. Failure to comply will result in a complaint being raised with the Information Commissioner's Office for withholding data and considerable compensation being sought from yourselves as provided for in GDPR. Furthermore, thank you for your letter dated the 21st of the 5th, 2019. We do not consent to you sharing private and confidential correspondence between us and your private corporation with any third-party agents. It is your responsibility to comply with our request, not the DWP. Then reference number, proof of posting and delivery available on request, no ill will, frivolity or vexation intended by Mr. X. So that's the response by email, so they get it immediately. Otherwise, you're wasting time sending letters. You don't need to do that with this part. So that's a really, really interesting response, as you can imagine, because they are asking you for permission to send your request to the DWP. The moment they do that, the DWP will cut your money off, guarantee it. But this has nothing to do with the DWP. Absolutely nothing to do with the DWP. You are private person talking to private corporation. So you just no, you can't share it. This is between you. They're trying to rig it out of the DSAR and the DPA and all of it. Because the letter we sent is unrebuttable. They can't answer a single question without dropping themselves in it. So this is how they're trying to get out of it. But this is the first time, I'd say this is the first letter of this type. This is the latest evolution. It is strictly for P.I.P and it's strictly for Atos. And this is the first time we've used it. It was only used a few days ago for the first time, and that's the response. So that, to me, that's checkmate, nailed to the mast, in the corner. Because what are they going to do now?
It's a breach, yeah. They're going to infract and go against law. They know that you're watching. They know that the positions are set. This all goes into the state of standing capacity, that the terminology that we employ and how we authorize and remaining in the private. We're going to touch on public and private later down the line, Kev. And what I'd like to do is, before we go forward with anything, we talked earlier, we actually went quite batshit crazy when this came out. If there are any viewers on the replay and you've got any of your offspring present, I suggest that you remove any of the little ones, because we will be using a bit of cursive grown up, language here,
I
as
certainly
as
will.
it fits. So this is your warning. We will be using cursive language, so replayers and the ones live. I don't suppose at this time there's going to be many little ones up. So that's our disclaimer. Right. So public and private, we need to pin that a minute, because we're going to go back round to that, because I hear on Facebook and so forth, the people are still confused as to our technologies and the way that we use them, which is everyone's technology, but we are the ones purporting and using it, and evolving it day to day, continuous improvement. So we had a discussion earlier about the benefit types and the companies that handle them, and then we had a discussion about the benefit types and the interviews, WCA, and assessments that they have. So can we just recap on the types of benefit, the company, and then the assessment that may or may not be had, and then what we'll do is we'll outline this in further structures, for ease of reference and stuff, on the dotcom and in forums. But that was, I think, a key conversation we had that I'd like to repeat, Kev. And we are
Yeah.
rather calm and composed here for the benefit of this video, but inside we are like having a party and dancing. This is we're taking it modestly. Well, Kev's taking it modestly. The evolution and the continuous improvement and the continuation of the reservation of rights remaining in law, but using the person and the public side and the acts and the statutes and the reservation. It's a multiplayer game here. It's not just a one player. We are not the defendant. Remember, we are not the claimant. I am not the claimant. We are the claimant. There you go. Is how it truly should be. So, Kev, the benefit types, assessments, and the companies, and then we'll go later on and we'll check the room, go to comments, look at public and private. I'll touch on that, and anything you feel relevant. It's your show. It's all about your update for now, what you feel is relevant. So
Yeah, no problem.
Can do, yeah. Respect.
Yeah, I'll do some clarification. Right. So if you are claiming ESA, then you will be asked to go, in some areas it might still be called incapacity benefit. I don't know if it still is in many areas. I know it all went over eventually, but so the basics are, if you're getting employment support allowance, then you will be required to attend a work capability assessment at some point. So if that's what you're claiming, work capability assessments. When we put the original documents up, you had 3 different companies, running them. That's why the documents on the dotcom are headed Maximus, Atos, Capita. Since then, here's the lowdown on it. Work capability assessments are done by Maximus, or the Health Assessment Advisory Service. That's still Maximus. So it's Maximus and Centre for Health and Disability Assessments. That's all Maximus, and they are work capability assessments. So that would be if you are claiming, let's call it incapacity benefit stroke ESA. That is the type of assessment you'll be going to. P.I.P, personal independent payment, is run and assessed by Atos alone. Whole different entity, and it's all changed now. So you've got specific people. Capita are out there, but I've not come across them yet. I think they might be more in Scotland, and I'm not sure. I've not come across Capita in any paperwork anywhere. I know they're doing stuff for assessments, but I'm not sure. I've got to be honest, I'm not sure whether it's where in the country, and I've personally never had to deal with Capita, and nobody that's come to me has had anything from Capita. So, these things are separate entities now, but much easier. So Atos are now calling themselves independent assessment services. but you know, the paperwork does actually say provided by Atos on it. So it's say independent assessment services, and then underneath in little writing, provided by Atos, because we lost the contract before, but then they gave it back to us. That sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway, so it's specific entities for specific documents. That's why in the previous broadcast I've said, if it's for PIP or it's from Atos and not Maximus, you need to come to us and we'll give you the relevant information to replace. Because basically what's happened, as I say, this guy's been given the document that's on our dotcom and said, here, basically for PIP. So the guy's copied it out, and it's all to do with Maximus, and it's being sent to Atos. So it would, you just, oh my God, it's so dangerous. You'll be sanctioned instantly. You'll be sanctioned instantly if you do that. So just be aware, you know, there's horses for courses. So that's where we're at with those. As I say, I'm sure, I think Capita are further up north, maybe even just Scotland. I know they're involved somewhere, but I've yet to deal with them. But it would be basic on similar grounds. You'd probably have to go looking for a bit of dirt on them, go and have a look at Dun and Bradstreet and stuff like that. But that's what you do, because that's when you desar them and ask the questions. This makes it unrebuttable and they can't respond. But
yeah, we need to give a disclaimer that this information is only current to the best of our knowledge. It's
yes,
not benefit advice. We're not giving you
no
instructions here. This is all food and thought for consideration, because in case you haven't noticed, these Conservatives and the current government and you know, the House of Commons, Lords, Parliaments, all the parties, everything is falling apart in our very realm, before our very eyes. I'm not trying to worry and scare you. I'm just factually reporting what I'm noticing. The likes of David Davis and Boris Johnson stepping down from the EU Brexit talks, and Boris being lined up for the front runner, the complete bamboozlery and the potluck of everything. It's very, very crazy, but I just want to pin everything, and I want to say that I've been very honoured and privileged. You may have wondered why I was cruising in the Capitol, Capita, Maximus, Club of Rome here again. Yes, I wasn't doing a recon. There's no security issues there. Agent Shills, GCHQ, and etc. I was privileged enough to go and see something out which I've been on with for a long time, and I was asked to go down in a protector capacity as a brother-in-law. Literally, I know law, and I'm a brother. So I went down as a capacity. I took a day off the servitude private trade, and I went and held up an agreement that was made for me to go down as a brother-in-law and protect rights and ensure that business was done correctly with the body corpus of the NHS. And that day that I was in the Capitol filming, I can't release anything to you. I was private, you know. We honour that, but I can show you the city and the crisscross effect up above on the horizon. And well, yeah, it was a heavy chem day that day. There was no dirty lorries, no old skip wagons or anything in London due to the taxes, and but so much political notifications that I made while I was there. I went past a place called Venetian Road, the Crown and the Shires, and yeah, so I was down there, and a shout going out. Okay, hear this. I personally, David the man, give a shout out to the NHS for this one time, because the doctors, for some years, a condition hasn't been recognised, and the doctor can't reveal anything. But a doctor at the NHS, at the hospitals down there, has honoured his profession and his oath, and he's acknowledged this condition that's causing someone quite a lot of pain and discomfort for years. Common law breaches, assault and battery of rights have occurred. Many a thing has gone down, and maybe I'll to surmise what I'm on about, those of you that have been with the channel for a bit. So the battle was greet the doctor and see what the diagnosis, prognosis, and effects are going to be going forward. And we were prepared for the worst. We, you know, expected the best, but we prepared for the worst, and the worst was quite prevalent when doctor started speaking, giving out his fundamental findings of the reports and scans and tests, and it looked a bit somber and bleak. I won't lie to you. I was sat in the middle of two fully grown men, and there was a doctor opposite. And when he finished delivering his I don't know, diagnosis, prognosis, and that, and one of the men I was with started crying uncontrollably with happiness. So I saw a member, you know, a worker, an agent, a trustee, a doctor, a brother, everything all above, give some information. And he did his job 100% effectively. I've never seen such a concise delivery of information, articulation, the percentages, give a good scenario, bad scenario, asked if there was consent and willingness. Everything was textbook. It was good news. It was overwhelming for the ones that I was with. They broke down in tears. I was hugging one of them. I told the doctor, this is not brotherly love here. This is just you are viewed as an angel right now because what you've just done, as we never expected this, and you know, for all that it's worth and all the shite that's going around in the news and that, there are some excellent, well, you know, mannered, you know, ethical, moral, and you know, really superb physicians, doctors, and staff working in that NHS. And my heart goes out to them. I just want to say, it's not a complaint show where we are damning everything. We just, you know, we need to give time out because I was overwhelmed. I was privileged. I was beside myself. Didn't have to do anything. And yes, it's quite a shock. To be fair, it doesn't happen often enough. It shouldn't be a shock, but you know, just want to say recognition for when it's due. And it's a shame that the system, you know, it doesn't always interface and react like that. And it, you know, this has been a battle. Let me tell you. That's why the tears flew because the battle is, you know, now begun again. The road to recovery and repair is not easy, but that shows
No.
you perseverance and battling on for your rights and calling out for support and asking for help and carrying on and feeling like you want to give up and commit suicide and that there's no point carrying on. It's a standard practice with dealing with the Club of Rome. You think our customer service may be bad on the .com or YouTube. You try and deal with the Club of Rome. I assure you now we are a million times more better, more ethical, and you know, respond and deal with it more diligently and with honor and a clean conscience and clean hands. There's no blood here, and there's no ill will, no bad vibes and intent. We don't, you know, promote violence and so forth. It's you know, it's not a slagging off show of anybody. We love the officers and the constables and everybody. We don't hate anybody. We see how everybody's been used as a tool. And behind this empire, I'm sure there is a dark shadow behind. I'm closing down. Kev, get ready. But behind my due diligence and research and all the speakers and videos and textbooks and spells and everything we've brought to you in the Bible and the demons and the angels, I tell you now, I believe that this Club of Rome Empire has a dark overlord sitting there, just like Vader, just like that old man that he picks up, Luke picks up and chucks down the what's he called now? The Emperor, is it? That, you know, old crinkly man that he chucks down the thing when he's having the, you know, last the Jedi fights and stuff. So, you know, that's what we are at. There is a dark entity, and they do portray it. And I'm sorry to be the one of this. There is a good light force, and there's positivity and love and crystals and rainbows and unicorns and waterfalls and all of that. But at the same time, simultaneously in this duality, I'll bring to you now that we're fighting a force here that will willingly let you fall by the wayside and be chopped up and recycled and used to feed others so they can, you know, gain. And it has no emotion. It's not nice to consider this, but it's a system, and it's a commercial system which is full of corpses and bodies. You know, I'm going to just leave it at that. That it's not any way us cutting in and causing, you know, political rest or insurgents or anything. We are reactive to the slaying of our family. And Kevin, I, others out there can see a remedy in the way that we use our business. So here we are, cross pollination of the hothouse flowers. Yes, we are going to cross pollinate you and watch you blossom and grow, and you will adorn the armor of the universe, of the creator of God. And this isn't anything magical or biblical or anything. This is just logic conscious law. We stand in law. We stand on land at all times. We will go fishing and swimming, and we will cast the net as we are now. And we do that with caution and always with rights reserved. So where others are saying, oh, well, Kevin, David, SPLs, whatever, they use the legal side. We do, yes, we do, to our advantage and conveyances, but we also anchor down on dry land and we remain there fixed, steadfast, whereas before we never have been. And we use our instruments and our persons and the language and the other tricks that we've learned. So, yeah, I'll leave it there, Kevin. Just say that I wanted to say, yeah, we don't show enough support for the ones that do good. And if you are in the services and in this realm and you feel and see that vibe and evil, and the negativity, and you're standing up and you are a voice, and we love you and we thank you. And when we meet you, we will tell you that personally as we look you in the eye and perhaps gesture for a little hug. Where, keep us going. So thank you. And Kev, over to you, brother. I'll mute.
Naked hugs, I hope. Yeah, as I say, it's quite distressing. I really hope that not many people have been given that document and have tried to use it, because I can guarantee you they've been sanctioned. I hope that hasn't happened. That would be a travesty, because you could fight your way out of it, but you've really made it difficult if you've used the wrong thing. As I say, we were very clear from the start that was purely for Maximus and for WCA.
Well,
So
one way to remedy that for the scribes and the famalan that are on here, and for those that are active in the community with the resources, is they'll make a list of the articulate information that we portraying and confirming tonight. They will make an order of things in the logical structure that we've put it as we believe it to be. It might be that it's different areas, a slight different, or additional company or something, but ultimately they will help do that. But others that go and follow blindly, that don't do their own discovery and due diligence and research and checking, then they will learn. This is how we learn. So what they can do, if they find that they've gone blindly into the battle and they've made an error or an omission, is you can change and amend and redact that. But as Kevin's saying here, when you are playing with these agents and you're playing with finance, and you are noticing and doing things, and you mix jurisdictions, you make errors, omissions, and get it wrong, they will just see the easy way out, the best way for you to be dealt with in your vexatious, ignorant, sometimes tacit, through acquiescence of. So it's not your fault, and I'm not judging you, but what I'm saying is, once the effects have happened, they can be undone, and you can always go back, and if you haven't done it properly, when you do it properly and you correct it all, you'll have a higher standard and a better place. So ultimately, you have done nothing wrong and you're not criminals. It's administration, you see, looks like the taxes and the PCNs and everything else. It's administration of the Club of Rome. Okay, so don't be panicking and in fear. I know it's serious, and it's food and electric and gas and rent and Big Barry, and it's our lives here that have been reduced to an administrative nightmare of funds. And while I'm on this factor here, we've got the EU and all these arguments and the potential new candidate to step up for treason dismay's place, the honey monster being number one. And here they have got all these old men and that who stand there going, oh yes, we don't want to be told what to do. We want the old English rule and the old English rule of law, and we want our own policy, and we want our own, what's the word now? It's the trade and commerce, isn't it, that they're arguing about, and the backstops. It's not about laws and rights and common law. That's been hidden away. It's all about the money, and much like British Steel and Tata, that bought it for quite some pounds, I do believe. And when I was around Sheffield and heard the news, so these men that want this independence, that get their pants bought by their wives. Yes, they don't do nothing. They get driven around. They don't know how the world works. They don't interface with us. They don't see it at our level. They don't abide by any of the public codes and the statutory codes we'll touch upon at the end. So these guys in the government and all the ones running for the prime minister's second place, like Boris, let's look at Boris, yeah, who thinks Boris is an everyday, hands-on, practical man? Now, scribes, I want you to answer yes or no. So when I go back to the chat room, I'll know if you are behind Boris and think he's a practical, hands-on, non-bumbling, foolish man, or if you think he's like Mr. Bean in every way, shape, and form as a public, figure there in the private educational system, and his bespoke family of a mansion of mazes that are made out of mahogany, and the only way to find his way around is by the smell of food or something. That's what his life's been like. I don't feel I've had much affection. I know I'm judgmental here, and I shouldn't be, but I'm just saying that it's really truly amazing that they all want the independence and the rule and this, that, the other, but yet they can't run their own lives, and the wives and the mums and the chauffeurs and the associates and so forth, PAs, get everything ready. And these lot just know that they're on a script, like you're on a script, and they get driven by money. You get driven by fear mostly, but some of you, the protectors out there that we're about to meet, and we are going to raise an academy. Kevin and I have been talking about setting up a trust where we can get trainees to help us run this trust, and it will form an academy where you would then, at the end of it, a bit like a youth training program, if you like, back in the day, you'd come out knowing how to function with a express private trust in England and Wales. That is legal though, but there's a lot of benefits to doing that and registering it. Yes, those words said. And there's one in law, and there's the public ones in the United Kingdom as well. So we'd look at an academy of sorts to strengthen going forward. We need the resources in the community. And yes, as for these lot wanting their independence and managing everything, I don't think they could actually fight the way out of a wet paper bag without directions. I yield, man. Let me yield.
Yeah, there's a sister that a lot of you will know, and I've got a lot of respect for her, and she works really hard at what she does. And I was listening to a broadcaster the other night, and she obviously spotted I was in the room, sort of mentioned me, and then she said, "Oh, yeah, Kevin and the sort of paralegals, they play inside the legal realm." And I thought, oh, whoa, hang on a minute. No, that's wrong. Here's the reality, as basic as I can put it. My person and that piece of paper, my birth certificate, my person's instrumentation works with legislation because he's in that realm, or it's in that realm. I'm not it. I'm firmly on the land. I'm the grantor settlor for that paperwork. The paperwork's the beneficiary. So that's why we have a foot in both camps. Your birth certificate deals in the legal world because that's what it is. But you remain in the private as grantor settlor for the trust that includes the straw man or the birth certificate. So that's why you take up two positions of the trust, because flesh and blood, living man is settlor grantor, your birth certificate is beneficiary. So, as I've said before, that leaves the trustee position open for any idiot that wants to jump in there, and invite them in by all means. Please come be trustee. So that was a little bit of a misunderstanding. Yes, we use the legal, but I don't use the legal. My person uses the legal. I stay firmly in the lawful side and in equity. So that's the distinction. So you've got two lots of tools then, basically. That's what you're doing. You're doubling your armor by setting out your status, standard, and capacity. So that's where that comes from. So, what else was I going to say? Yeah, let's say the DWP stuff that is evolving all the time. I tell you, the guy that I did this document for originally, we were absolutely hysterical. When he sent me that the other day, I phoned him. I literally sent it. He went, "Oh, I've had this," and I just went, "Can I ring?" We had such a laugh about it. I said, "That is just it's stunning for them." Just shows you the power they've now, and that's a few little additions in the letter that have caused that. It's just by one simple line, it's caused them to have to now come and ask for consent to pass it on. And that's because this is what Maximus. Oh, can I just say, by the way, just so you all know, I personally am going again through stuff right now. So I don't just, I'm right in this, people. I'm not just sitting here going, I've worked it all out. I am currently just going back to tribunal again. They're being malicious to me now. It's clear what they're doing is malicious, and I'm not surprised. They know what I'm doing. They know, they can see how many people I've helped. I'm sure they're watching stuff like this back. Absolutely positive about it. It's getting around. So, but just so you know, I'm right there with a lot of you at the moment. I'm sanctioned, but it's not unexpected. But I believe now I've got them on malicious. I'll be able to pull some malicious prosecution on them. I can prove it. It's the third time they've done it to me, and it's basically about the same thing. But what I've done, I've sent a very similar letter myself to Maximus, to the one that I produced for this guy. And what Maximus have done is they've just informed the DWP straight away, and bosh, I've been sanctioned. But they've now screwed up because I can prove that they've shared a document that they were told not to share.
Bosh, up the kibosh, never mind Bosh, kibosh. So I'm aware, sorry to cut in, but I need to say this because I think I'll lose it. I'm going to look at these ones that have got the strength, the ability, the willingness, the know-how, they want to get involved with this going down the line. And, you know, I'm sure I'll be able to draw you into that with what we're about to bring forward, you know, in the next few casts and the relevant news in the TV now. I would like to draw attention to the commentary that is made by these belligerent, non-emotional, cloned buffoons that we're going to start compelling. And these are the ones like Matt Hancock. Hello, Matt Hancock. That was my video title when I was nearly sick and drawn to tears on the way to trade. I nearly pulled over and just thought, if there was ever a sign for anything, horrific stories like that when you've only been up a short while before 9 a.m. when you're judging yourself about with the woes of, and you know you're planning your day, and then you're like, but there's 60 odd little ones locked up somewhere on drugs that have no hugs, nobody tells them they love them, and these stupid agents and Club of Rome officers are moving them around for nothing other than profit, because these companies like Maximus and Atos and so forth and so on, Capita, Roman names again, as if you need more information, who's at the helm, a dark overlord, running it for money, just like British Steel. If it's not making money, we'll shut it down. Well, why not nationalize it? Why don't we take and compel and say, actually, that there we'll take, because we're going to need metal. What do we make submarines out of? I mean, I'm going to go military here, but money and contract. What do we make aeroplanes or, you know, out of? What do we make the transportation and iron horses out of? Do we need metal? Yes, yes, we do. How much metal do we use on a yearly basis, on average? Well, before the collapse of Brexit and the exit of all the car manufacturers and so forth, it was so many trillion tons. But now it's about 5. I see what they're doing here to contrive. They plan in advance. So failure and non-nationalisation and selling off of things. British steel. Hear those words? Gone. Well, British coal. It's gone. And through my discovery and research and diligence, I'm finding that we had at the top ages ago, way back, we had gold. There was loads of gold. Everyone had gold. We made things out of gold. We ate gold. We cooked gold. We played with gold. There was gold everywhere. And then we went down to the silver. And then it's gone down to the Bronze Age. And it's gone down to the Iron Age. And then it's gone down to the copper. Then it's gone to, and as time goes on, we're at the paper level where is no value of anything. We've got no assets. We've got no right. And it's like, if you was to have, you know, that chimp, and it's the primate all the way up to the solid man. I know it's a load of bull horizon. I found a new bull, ambulance, bull. Yes, just to pop in there as it's told me to. But these things, you know, I'm going to stop, Kev, because I'm going to go on a tangent even more so. But you see where I'm going, and these things that are happening, it is unforgivable. It is sacrilege, and we have a way of nationalising and reserving our own resources. This is what this trust business is about. We've entrusted the government to run things, the business, the corps. And we found out it's a business, and what they're doing, they're not running it very well. Whoever's running it isn't the government, it's a private corps. All these agencies and corpses and Maximus and Capita and Atos and health assessment, something you said, another name that I can't remember, but they're all private corporations listed with chief executive officers and boat people and intercourse and numbers, and they rely on digits and numbers and profit. And very rarely does a chance happen like I saw with you know, that doctor and those two brothers there. So we have to recognise that things are crumbling, and they're designing it to go a certain way. So we can't fix the system. What we need to fix is our cognitive thinking, the man, the mind, the woman, the sister at the temple, under the dome, the way you feel, the way you act. And he said, oh, don't call yourself sovereign. I forgot about that. Underneath, Babylon's had its chance now. So underneath we'll break out the sovereign. There's nothing wrong, in my honest opinion, or a man under God here, with the word sovereign. There's nothing, you can't give the Queen sovereignty and the coronation, everything like that from the people. That wasn't the men, that was the people as well. If you haven't got it yourself. Now, the people aren't sovereign because the people, as Kev says, and as I know, are legal instruments. They're your people, persons, persona. We're not going down that road again. We've polished it off. So we know for a fact, substantially, that this is the song that they've given us, but we're changing the, the artist, and we're never changing the song as the Facebook realm, the YouTube realm, the freedom realm, the WordPress realm, the Article 61, all of these rebellion and the movements and consciousness and a secured party creditor and all of the churches, they keep changing the artist, but nobody has got up and gone, DJ Selector, spin that track, give me a new one. And somebody comes up and takes off the gramophone from his master's voice. Yes, remember that one with the dog and the, yeah, and it puts on a test press, brand new acetate, hybrid, cross-pollinated version of that song. Yeah, because like I said, with the music industry, they keep changing all the artists, but the song and the message is still the same. So where have we got R&B hip hop fans in 30 years of oppression, black violence, and just blatant racism, yeah, sexism and racism? Where have we got? Absolutely nowhere. Why? Because we haven't done anything. We're not moving in. So we're not changing the system. It will be refused to change. But you change you and who you are, the system will always be there. But think, as Kev's just pointed out, and I'm pointing out, and the documents and the responses, you change your who you are and who you are on paper and how you interact, and the rest will. That's how the system changes. You will never get by rioting, yellow vesting. Very seldom you do, but very seldom. Force will win, and the rights of and demanding will win. But a reservation, status, standing, capacity, that's the thing the system doesn't have an answer for, and that's how it treats you differently. So rather than going out smashing stuff and putting yourself in danger and causing harm, vexatious, malicious, and so forth, you start thinking alongside the lines we do, and the system doesn't make you invincible. There are still miscarriages of justice. There are still administrative errors, names that look similar, fraudulent warrants, validated claims being upheld, and arbitrators, not judges, running things and not knowing. There's not enough education there in the realm. We clearly know more. So if we can capitalize on that, for want of a better word, to the capital, we can fight fire with fire. And Kev knows better than anybody. Sometimes in the right status and capacity, we can do this and reserve and remain protected at all times. So it's you that needs to change. It's your interaction. This is honest, true from me, the best thing that you can hear, and the way that you are. And if you keep enforcing them and pressing on, then unfortunately it's going to be a slow, long process. But we will what's the word? We will boycott the system with lawful excuse under the covenant of, and there are many and various things going off here, and I'm struggling to keep abreast of the calamity, of the potential danger. So that's why we're here now, to think about how we would react to a situation which would be quite abhorrent compared to what it is now. Even the thought of Boris coming out and addressing the nation is hurting me so much. It's just the plan they've got. They have a plan, and it's all about monies and land and acquisition. Yeah, it's not about you and I, unfortunately. So I'll leave it at that. There is a remedy there somewhere.
Can I just quickly jump in? Yeah, Clint, I just sent you an email, and for some reason my not an email, just sent you a message in the chat room, and my tablet had sort of frozen, if you like. So I just scrolled through, couldn't find it. So I've sent it again, but email David, he'll pass my thing on to you. Furthermore, Clint, it's Capita. I told you it was all the way up north. That Capita were doing stuff. Everywhere's north from me, mate, mostly. That's fine, but I'm pretty certain this new document, mate, I'll double check it, but I'm pretty certain you could just change anything we've put in there that says Atos to Capita. I think everything's relevant in that way. Yeah, I'm aware they're a IT firm and all the rest of it. There's Care Mayor's put that in there. Yeah, same as Atos are, French IT firm, not registered over here. Don't say anything about doing medical assessments. So that should tell you a lot. You can't give a service that you haven't registered that you give. So just they're an IT firm. How they don't this doesn't say medical assessments. It just says IT. So that's all they can do in the UK. Yeah, Capita. Yeah, and I think Care Mayor said, yeah, Capita don't respond to emails. You don't need him to respond to an email. You should put everything in writing to them anyway. What I'm saying is, in this particular instance, they've sent the letter asking for our consent. Now, by the time we've written a letter saying no, we don't send it and all the rest of it, that's a couple of 2 or 3 days. Do you see what I'm saying? But you can give them notice of non-compliance during an email. You don't need them to respond. You don't care if they respond. That's not your problem. So as long as you can serve them an email at their customer services address, that's all you need to do. So it doesn't matter about them responding. You shouldn't, even though they should respond, half the time they're not going to respond because they can't rebut stuff that's being used. So there's no point in coming back and going, actually, you're wrong. That's why they don't respond, because you just backed them into a corner and they can't do anything. It's checkmate. So that's why you won't get responses, but we don't care about responses. As long as we know that email's delivered, that's as good as recorded delivery post. That's all you need for your notice of non-compliance email. So, but I say, a lot of people going back to sort of common law and statute law, it's amazing how many people still don't realise or don't grasp that statute law is common law. It's a fact. They all think, oh no, we're all standing in common. We don't nothing to do with them statute. We're standing in common law. Well, I'm afraid you're very confused. You're very confused. The matter is, common law is the motherboard, right? Thank Mr. Vidler for this. Common law is the motherboard, and statute is just little plugins to fine tune it. That's what it is, but it is part of common law. Fact. So all these people, I stand in common law. Well, that's why they're shoving statutes up your ass, mate, because it is common law. So, that's a confusing issue.
It's like it's like you've got six different groups out there, main ones that are lobbying and swaying for different methods and interaction. And if I was to get each one of those leaders, founders, the top one, the one that's responsible, the creator for them groups, and I give them a task, and I blindfold all 6 of these members of the group, and imagine this common law now and equity, both of it, because it's combined. The common law, the law of the land is both public and private simultaneous. We live in a duality. This is where the science and the Bonacci's and the Hazios and stuff help us formulate our hydroponic organic formulation here of the cross-pollination. So imagine these 6 are blindfolded. They've come with me and I've taken them to a field. I present to them an elephant, all right? And I get the first one. Well, it's not an elephant in a room, it's an elephant in a field. It's so big an issue, I can't keep it in a room. Man's took it to the field in the open. And we got the first one. We took him down and said, I want you to feel that and tell me by feeling it what you think it is. And now this is something that no one's ever seen before, this elephant then. So they're not going to have an idea, of what it is. I want them to describe it, try and see, they know what an elephant is. They don't know what the feeling is, what I mean. They haven't seen the object they're about to feel. So I want them to tell me by feeling, the parts, what it is. So the first one comes with me and they feel this elephant of common law and equity. I said, what is it? He happens to grab the horn. This one, and he says, oh, well, it's spiky and it's hard and, it's this, that, the other. So it must be some kind of weapon. Okay, then. So you think it's the weapon, no problem over here. Next one comes down. I'm being very political here. I'm choosing not to say certain things that would, boil the waters of peace and love. And it's not an issue that we have to go through this time and time again and keep simplifying it for folk. But second man comes, or woman, lady. We'll go for a lady. There's quite a lot of ladies running their groups and things out there. And she comes down and she feels the trunk. And she says, I says, what do you think that is then? And she says, I don't know. It's long, it's thick, and it's got something on the end. It feels like feels like something, an animal or something. I don't know, a pig or something. Okay, she thinks it's a pig. Head over that way. The third one comes down, happens to go and have a feel of that. Tell me what you think that is. Get yourself in there. And he grabs a trunk, leg, feeling the leg. Thinks it's a tree. Okay, you think that's a tree? Okay, I assure you it's an animal, but there you go. Off you go over there. They're blindfolded. He can't work out what it is. And then the next one comes down. What am I on? Number 4. Help me out. Yes. And number 4 comes down. He starts feeling around and he feels the ear. And he thinks, this is a fan. This is some kind of fan. You get where I'm going here now, yeah? So the next one comes down. Number 5. And what part of the elephant we got left? He comes down and feels the tail. And then he's feeling the tail. And it's just like, oh, this is some kind of rope. Well, I told you it was an animal, but there you can see the confusion that's settling in here. What other part of an elephant's left for number 6? Why did I choose 6? I didn't think it out, did I? The eye, can't feel the eye. I've done the tusk, done the trunk, I've done the leg, I've done the tail, I've done the ear. Oh wow! Well, there's 5 people, men now. All right, because there's not 6. If I can't see the chat room yet because I'm in the kitchen for. Just leave me.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's got to be a 6th part of an elephant, but that doesn't matter. The principle is they didn't get it. They all fell individually and blindfolded. They couldn't tell what the animal was, but just by touching one part. And that's what these lot are doing out there. They're focusing on one part, whereas we focused on all of the elephant. We're blindfolded, and we went down and touched all of the elephant: the trunk, the ear, the leg, the tusk, the tail. And we thought, I know what this is, because we went in and we've done the due diligence and the research. So with that said, if you do stumble around in the darkness, there is a time where I was there. I'm still there now. You learn every day. The great Lord Creator, consciousness, big G, divine matrix brings messages and learning all day long. Until you die, you will never stop learning. So if you want to get out of that dark and you want to start getting to that light at the end of the tunnel, then this is how you do it. You have to fumble around. And if you do that and you fumble around, even though you're in the dark, you will see the bigger picture. So on the realms of YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and wherever these messages come out, of these ones purporting, they're just either ignorant, and it's a simple message. The common law is common, like Kev's saying, in the statutory. And if you're in the public, then there isn't no defence as what there is in the private. The best defence for you, the armour of the the supreme being, one creator, one with no name, so we call him Yahweh, is is before you. It's that's what you need. And the public is danger, the private is protected, and only man has private. Equity knows no time, and first in line, first in time is first in line. So 2 nice maxims there, aren't they, Kev?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just having a quick I see Tony Lorenzo's in. Hello, Tony. How you doing, mate? Cabon, John. Yeah, just having a quick flip through. Clint, going back to you, say Capita are doing that. That's fine, mate. I'm absolutely certain that this doc that we've just done is easily probably 15 minutes to adjust. It's perfect, mate. So get that message to me as soon as you can, and I'll have a catch up with you and get them across to you.
What I want to say, Kev, is that I'm tired and I've been running around. I've had an emotional week. I've been down the other end of the country, and I'm not trusting myself to do a good enough job for an upload tonight. So I did say I'd upload it tonight on the cast, but we'll do it tomorrow, and I'll put it onto some letterheaded stuff that paperwork that me and Greg are working on. Well, Greg's working on with a bit of direction, and we are open for these to be shared around. And I did say that we're going to make a video to a company going forward for the benefit, like a little bit of a VIP for the ones that have come to the dotcom, that have invested in time, trust, love, energy, support, and so forth, to give back to those ones a little extra. We will make unlisted, non-public, here we go, videos on the SPLs Pro YouTube channel. They won't be seen unless you go in the forum of the dotcom. And we'll start advertising the free stuff. What we give away for free, I'll advertise at dotcom, looks like that lawful notice for your automobile and horse. And then what we give away for free. Yeah, is the bare essentials and stuff that you need, and then we'll go onto the levels of inception and further help and support and foundational, lists and stuff like we said about the benefits, the companies, the types of assessment, the languages and statuses to consider using. This is your decision. But if you go in with full public liability, no protection, and trusting the system, as you can see, they're not very good. They make numbers up. They get it wrong. They can't count. They over and under budget everything. They treat you like cattle and pallets and chattel. And the belligerents and torts and misfeasance, man shall not suffer a tort. The chance these guys in the chambers and the high courts and the Queen's Bench division, they wouldn't stand, but it's hard. They don't get made aware of any of this except in rare circumstances and chances. So, I'm not saying that they're the perfect angels of the savior of man, but trust me, it's a whole different realm when you interface with certain higher courts. Hello, and the telephones and how they speak, and they're full of it. They really are pretentious, but there is a system there, as pretentious as it is, and you can swing that hammer, of Thor, the anvil, and hammer it down home. It will take some time. It's not easy. You don't always win first time. They do confuse you. They make mistakes. They backtrack, and they change the companies. As you're seeing the courts now, and you see the Conservative and the scramble. What I reckon now, Kevin Fam, is we can have another mash-up when the House changes again, and we get the honey monster for his proverbial, resting home to roost, doing what he's, been told to be doing there. So I do envisage a little bit more disturbance. I don't know where. I'm not saying Boris is coming in. He's just, if you look in the bookies right now online, DuckDuckGo, favourite to take Theresa May's job. I do believe the bookies have got the honey monster as Boris for that, and a few others of which I'm not going to glorify. So that's why I say that. I don't want Boris. Go on.
I've just seen something really interesting in the chat room, and I just want to address it. There's a guy there, Pongo, ex-infantry soldier with compressed discs. Capita want to come to my home for assessment. We could conditionally accept that and give them a schedule of fee. Piece of piss, mate. Sort that out. They won't come because it'll cost them too much money to come to you. You mustn't let these people assess you, mate. They're not qualified. If you've previously been assessed by a consultant and maybe your doctor, on the strength of that, has issued you a not fit for work certificate or a sick note for however long, then nobody can assess you below consultant level. It's simple. So, yes, this very same document that we're talking about that we're going to upload, mate, is exactly what you need, which is a conditional acceptance. It does a few other things and it puts them on the spot, and they won't be able to come near you, mate. They won't be able to assess you. And you don't want them assessing you. Don't consent to it. They're idiots. You might as well ask the cat's ass to give you a bleeding assessment, mate. That's the truth of it. They're idiots, and the trick is they pretend to be government, and you think you have to comply, and you go along. They say, "You happy to go ahead?" You go, "Yeah." You're done. You've just consented to an idiot taking control of your health. You have an unalienable right to protect your health. As I say, previously assessed by a consultant like me. I've got 5 different consultants. So they've previously assessed me. So anybody that wants to assess me, and I've got no problem being assessed, but they must be at consultant level or above. They cannot be below. Cannot be below. At minimum, the person in that room would have to be, at minimum, a qualified and registered general practitioner. Minimum requirement, because that's who signed your certificate. So that's the facts of it. You mustn't consent with these idiots. To just make it difficult. They're private corporations.
You see,
send them a schedule of fees. You want to do business? This is what it's going to cost. Let's have it.
Well, wait. There's a shiny thing in the sky. There's a long shiny thing in the sky. Oh, I can't tell you where I am. I need to film that. What's happening here? That's not normal, everyone. It's like a train of stars in the East Midlands sky right now.
It's
I
the
hope.
alien coming for
No, this is not. This is not
Northern
anything I'm
Lights.
mistaken. Quick, quick, quick! I'll get my camera out. Oh, this is such a serious moment for all concerned in other ways, but that's not going to pick that up either.
Maybe it's
It's a long. It
those
looks
being
like a
delivered.
long sparkler. Oh, I sound so trippy now, and I swear to God, I haven't taken
Yeah,
anything. I
bloody
can
mustard.
zoom in.
You liar.
Oh, somebody look up. It's about 5 mile long. Oh, it definitely looks like a lot of little dots, like a big glass tube in the sky. Sorry for the hangout for ruining this. Oh, 1 second. I zoomed in, getting nothing. This is where you need your P900, East Midlands area, P900 crew, get out in the sky. Somebody's got to capture this. There's got to be a YouTube video. It looks like a train made of stars, of tiny little white dots, and it's moving very, very silently above my head. I am not tripping. I've had no drugs. I very rarely ever see anything ever in my life. So just to come out here to have a zigzag in the shed and to look up and see that is quite actually taking the tangent off everything. I'm getting back to the soldier, do not worry. But I've never seen anything like that in my life. I know you can all be my witness under God, man under God. That's enough speaking of it. But man in shock. Excellent. I've seen something weird, and when that gets covered, you can't miss that. You cannot miss it. It was like a sparkler in the sky, moving slowly, the size of a train. Yes, with millions of little white lights on it. So, look up if you're in the East Midlands and carry on looking up. The Soldier Man. I'm sick of hearing about servicemen that have done QE2 service and have got issues with health and the bonds and stuff that we know of, the
Disgusting.
private remedy. I will say sorry for this Club of Rome and the way that man has defended country, queen, principal. You are the prince, the principality of it all. You are a prince to us, to me, to the family.
Yeah,
What you've
big love
done.
to you, mate.
Yeah, I feel sick to the. If only we could find a benefactor, we would protect more. We would go out there. I'm coming up to 3 months of no work because the mold doesn't grow in the. I'm going back outside to look at the sky. Actually, mold doesn't. Oh
Can I
wow!
just can I just put something out there, Dave?
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
To Pongo. Pongo, a little bit further. I don't know if you can see the chat room, mate. But I'll put it on here for you. I have got an SPLS Pro email address, but we've got a couple of issues with it at the moment, and the issues are we haven't got round to putting it right. That's the truth.
We've tried. We have had a
We're
go. We've tried. Yeah, go on.
going to try this weekend, but I have put David's splspro.com, and I've set earlier in the thread to Clint. It actually comes up under Jesse Dream. So if you want to email David at the moment, he will forward you an email address you can get hold of me on. But Pongo, I'd love to speak to you, mate, especially as you've been out there protecting us, brother, which I have the utmost respect for. And thank you very much. And I'm sorry that you got fucked up over it, brother. I really am. But I'm more than happy to help you out as much as I can. All right.
These men and women here are the ones that need the support more than ever. Not just because they've done service for Queen and country and whatever, but because, and that's at the highest level of respect from us. But not whatever. But moving on, the funds and the way that it is here, you should be looked after. You should be able to say,
Yeah.
okay, then we don't need to put you through the mincer. You clearly are not a criminal. You're an honest, good citizen here because army, soldier, citizen, employee, orders, public, admiralty and sea. So, he's done that, and then you still get kicked in the teeth. You don't. The payment for doing that, massive flash above my head as well. Now, just as I'm looking around, like a lightning thing, but there's
You're
no
going to
storm.
disappear in a minute, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh wow. And yeah, this. I'm so sorry about this. It's so bad.
This is
We've
this is
stopped.
Dave's way of getting out of the broadcast. He's going to go, I've been abducted.
You should be looked after, and there should be a fund there for you forever. The payment for going and the harm and what you've gone through, and how much money the corpses make. This is the underlying factor from that battle and subsequent battles, and Iraq, Iran, Helmand Province, what America's doing. As we've pointed out before, going back biblical, and as I've seen alien things, alien things in the sky, we've got America in case let's ground everybody here with who we are and where we are with the Pope, one of the three popes. There's a colour pope for America. They do the battling and the war. And there's a banking system in London with an obelisk, like Washington and that obelisk, with the war in America, England, banking, Pope for that one. And then
Cleopatra
Vatican,
Cathedral.
obelisk. Yeah, Pope for that one. There's a grey Pope, a black Pope, and a white Pope. These are the ones running around, running things, and there's enough money made from these wars and enough gold in that Vatican to help the ones that are less abled, whether they're born that way, birth, born, we say born for a reason, everybody. We never say birth because that's your person, your ship. Those that are born and entered into this realm through or that end up at some point in life being handicapped, less abled, mentally, not non-compass, but mentally, affected, afflicted, fractured, broken down, emotionally ruined by the Club of Rome, then they should be able to step into some kind of care and protect her, area. But there isn't anywhere in the legal system that protects you, is what we're finding. They say that they do, but they don't. So we need to step into law fast, and we need to step into law in the ways that we are proposing. And these ones here, the ones that are less abled, not just the service, ex-service users, even officers that get stabbed or shot in the line of duty and such things as, not just army, but ambulance, all of the ones out there we used to call it civil sector, civil service, which it quite isn't. They need looking after, we need looking after, but nobody's looking after us. There's a system that allows us to look after each other, but we have to tell the system that we know of that system. Do you get me now? There's like a little loop of 8 going off, and we keep battering round on this loop of 8, which isn't infinity. It's just a loop. Think of a number 8 on its side. We're going round and looping, and we're changing the song, but we're not changing the artist. Changing the artist, we're not changing the song. But tonight we're changing the song, and we're changing the artist, and we are going to cross-pollinate with this, and we will work towards a unison of this. But it says resources and community are the key. Then the applied effectiveness of what we're doing, and what you save and what you can do and where you can go and how you can help is critical. That you do it now, especially if there is glittery snakes in the sky. Go on.
Sorry, Pongo's he just put another thing in there. Listen, the document I've been talking about, I don't know how long you've been here, whether you've been here since the beginning of the evening, but the document I'm talking about, they're about to upload, it'll do it all, mate. As I say, we've done all this, so it's there if you want to have a look at it and maybe use it. It's virtually ready to go, mate, as it is. With its conditional acceptance, there's a lot of other tools in there as well that add weight to it. It's a schedule of fees, etc. It's a section 10. It's all sorts of things, mate. It's evolved, so it really is heavyweight. And as I say, we've had this response to it. If you haven't listened to the whole show, go back to the beginning. You'll become clear at what we seem to have achieved at this time. So I've got stuff here that maybe, or there will be stuff posted that you could utilize in your own version, if you like. But I'd certainly like to chat to you or if we could get a chance to do something like that, or through email, whatever you want to do, to help you out, brother.
Yeah, we'll go live and announce when we've got Kev's email online, then we'll do that this weekend. I've got a couple more jobs that are priority to do along with that. We'll do that this weekend, we said, Kev, didn't we? So
yeah,
we'll let everyone know. I'll announce that and we'll put it on the .com, and then we'll get, ultimately it's in the forums, and then from others that pick it up and then take it out and promote it. So I'll get the letter-headed document sorted with G, and we'll put this new document on the .com. We'll share it via email, so it's not just exclusively, we're not leaving anybody out in the cold, but what we're not doing is just giving out powerful tools that can be misconstrued and others can change them. And if you don't know what you're looking for, and we give them out there like we was doing on Facebook before, and evil, nasty, dark, demonic, negative, vibrational creatures that want to make money, or that want you to fall down, because there's been a lot of misguidance, let me tell you, and a lot of mistrust, as you are finding out. They will change stuff. So just the odd bits, and it'll be 90% excellent and 10% shite. And that 10%, even one word, even sometimes just down to the grammar, the grammarification of it all. So what we've learned here is I'm going to bring to you this man. His first name's Chuck, and he goes subatomic and atomic, and he goes quantum, and he goes all the physics, but then he goes Bible, and he tells you in the Bible what they're saying and how real life is like this, and it's very, very unique. But he's put it out there that this is where I sometimes where I quote and talk from his teachings, that these negative energies want you to fall down, and they want, like, listen, SPLs and Kevin and David and whoever it is, you lot out there, scribes as well, and make it document, and we devise something and we all put it out there. These lot get hold of it. Here's another reason why they do it that makes my shit itch, to be honest. They will try to get a document, or they will get a document when we make it, freely available, and don't try to protect it like we are now. And feel the responsibility of this. This is why we're doing it, because we are responsible. We are not idiots. We are not desperate. We're not, anything other. We've both got many things we should be doing other than this video and these documents. So it's out of love and respect we do it. So we have a responsibility as the creators and the founders and the, protectors and the so forth on of what we're doing here. We are the pioneers of the cross-pollination of the hothouse flowers of our family in this greenhouse, if you like. So we do this, and then others will get hold of it, and they'll change 10% or a small percent, unnoticeable to you lot, but it will slap at me and Kev and the authors with the authority in the face like a wet fish as soon as we see it. And you use that, and it doesn't work, because somebody's got bad intent, and they've changed something, and they've made out they've got it from us. And they said, yeah, that's what Kev and Dave have done. And then it doesn't work, and it doesn't work 5 times. And they go, well, these lot are idiots, because we're using this and it's not working. So and then it turns around that we're idiot, and I'm like, hang on a minute, we're not having this, are we, Kev?
No, that's what I mean. You say at the beginning of anybody that missed the beginning of the broadcast, please go back and listen to it. It'll explain everything. This is just what's happened in, I think it's the last 3 days, if that. Something like that. It's the last 3 days, and particularly information that came to me in the last few hours today, in the last 4 or 5 hours. To go back and listen to it, and you'll understand it a bit more, what we're going on about here. But people have been giving out documents to people for the completely wrong thing, and they've not listened to what I've said. They've not listened to broadcasts. I've made it perfectly clear every time. I've tried to make it foolproof for everybody. Now, that obviously, to that end, as David said earlier, I will make a video with these documents, okay? And I will go through each one of them, and I will explain exactly what you've got to do where and what to put where. It's not rocket science, but I will do it as a video and pick out every bit that needs explaining. But as I say, people have been sending out documents for P.I.P, which have got nothing to do with P.I.P. They're for WCAs, work capability assessments, whole different thing. And they've been sending these to people. And I got one back from somebody today, and I was like, I said, it is a P.I.P assessment. He says, yeah. I said, well, you're writing to the wrong company. You put in everything about Maximus. Maximus got nothing to do with it. So this is what we're saying. We have clearly explained that was the example on the dotcom is purely for Maximus for work capability assessments. But even that's evolved. There'll be a new one of those shortly as well on the dotcom, an up-to-date, more evolved version. Okay. And the one we've just used for Atos stroke independent assessment services, we've had the most incredible response to it. As I say, go back and listen to the beginning of this broadcast. I've read out the response we've had on everything. It'll become very.
Mindfulness is the key here. We'll be your mindfulness mentors on video, because neither of us want to keep repeating this in Groundhog Day, and we can't keep seeing man make errors, and man isn't making errors. Man is being misguided on purpose. Documents are being changed on purpose. Know this, as I've said. It's there's things out there, and there's entities, and there's for whatever reason they have their own agendas. They want to make money. They want to, watch this.
Recognition, mate, is what some of them
Yeah,
want. They want
so
to be a hero. I don't
Adrian,
like doing charity work, but I do a lot of charity work. But I don't like talking about the charity work that I don't do much of or speak about. That's the sort of people you're looking at. It's ridiculous. And that's what they're looking for, some sort of, I don't know, yeah, recognition, some sort of, oh, what a hero you are. But I can't even believe this particular person doesn't understand. I mean, we had an involvement for quite some time, and I just don't get that he's giving that stuff out for Pip.
well,
It's
we
too
the other listen. The other week we had the guy that was saying statutory, and so forth
statute
is
barred.
hard, and yeah, is not applicable, and so we have, they're responsible. Each man is responsible for themselves. That's why there's no liability on any of our consultations or our chats or anything, because we know we aren't responsible for you. We're not responsible for anybody but ourselves and our family, But you are our family, so whether you be black, white, woman, child, gender fluid, not sure, in the transitional, pre-op, post-op, alien, hybrid, Klingon, Wookiee, we don't care. We've got love for it all, but you stab us in the back or try to, besmirch our good nature or mistake our kindness for weakness,
Hmm.
then we have to protect ourselves. We don't give up on you, but we have to move into the private. Having a .com, oh, you can't have a .com. It's got to be a .org. No, it doesn't, because later down the line we bring to you our understanding and knowledge and overstanding, understanding of actually trade, commerce, man, land, air, water, interface, and the obligations, duties, and so forth. Then we can pretty much do that. And it's just that we need you to catch up, is what we're saying, or for you to you must use your own research and due diligence. But we are responsible for what we claim, and we will always give you the proof and the substance and the evidence and the logic behind that. We won't just say, today we've had a little mix up in the blender, myself and Kevin, and we've taken a shitload of DMT, alcohol, cannabis, cocaine, everything, barbiturates, and what we've magically found this week is no, it's nothing like that. It's not a mad scientist show. It's not a claim to make egos or fame. It's just there's a way out of this, and there's a technology, and we've used it, and we would be an idiot and evil to keep it quiet. And we have an obligation and a duty, and those of you that can stand forth and stand strong, then yeah, you are the protectors, and we need to move forward with this, and embark on how we're going to move forward and where we're going to go. But for the time being, we're going to look at the mindfulness with confusing things. There is a pathway. I think there's seven, as it happens, the number seven. But one of them is to be precise. If you think something and you don't check it out, then you haven't been precise. Now, for example, there is a synonymous. Oh, I hate this word. A synonymous and cinnamon. Easy for you to say. Synonymous, synonyms and synonymouses. Yes, these words and these conditions. I'm dyslexic. I know what I want to say, everyone. I'm not a retard. I just can't say it because this is the hard work of the brain. Those of you out there, please feel my pain. Have this. So the synonymous issue is that a word. Come on, Dave. A word that in law, in legal, because we have to be very, very accurate here. Because these words, let me think. Come on. Example would be, it's hard off the cuff when you're tired. You see, I'm trying my best for those that are critics. The word that has more than one meaning. Kev, help me out. I want to pick a well-known word that has more than one meaning. That's legal and
Understand.
workable. Yeah, well, understand, understand, under in reverse. Yeah, person has more than one
Person.
meaning. Yeah. Public and property, but I'm thinking legal here, like, because you've got the translation in language. So C C is not really a legal word, but the phonics of it are all different. So child, let me think, asset, property. No. The perfect word to use to say that, if you don't look at it properly, it will lead you astray. So in the legal realm, we have to be accurate with the words that we use and what language they appertain to. That's what I'm saying. So person and man. There you go. There's a big difference between person and man. And when this establishment deals with us and interfaces with us, it uses a language of which it knows an answer it will get if it leads you down that path. But with us, we are more diligent with our interface language, correspondence, and everything else. And the one way that you can see the truth when you are blind is to use accuracy and to get out a dictionary and to be boring and to cross reference it with the Anglo, the Oxford, the Merriams, the Websters, the concise, and the blacks and other such ones as more. There's loads, and then you write down the reference of it, and you keep continuously like Andy. Choosing every word. I can't do that. That's not my forte. I'm the word master that can tell you what they all mean and where they go and what realm and which means what and where it come from and all of this. But as for speaking, I have some far way to go. But if you're accurate and you use your due diligence in this realm and you get a notice, document, anything passed to you and you are unsure, then you need to know every word and you're going to have to check that out. And when you do that, you will then become strong and knowledgeable and knowing, and you will know if someone's trying to set you up or if it's wrong, or if I or Kevin have indeed made a mistake, Kev, an omission late at night, 3 in the morning, doing this work for free. Yes, when you're tired, it
Yeah.
does happen, does it not? You put the things wrong, you get it massively wrong sometimes, and you send it off going, yeah, use that. The other one at the end doesn't check it. They don't know what they're doing. And we've got liability for it. No, we haven't. We're helping you for free at early hours and twat o'clock in the morning. So, appreciate that these things, like I just said, I'm not uploading this document tonight because I don't trust myself to not make an error or an omission with something so important so it can wait till tomorrow. So when you are not sure, one of the key things in life that's a scientific proof that will get you out of it is for one of the seven is accuracy. And I'll give you the other six later down the line. But when you don't know where you are, there are certain ways you can find out where you are, is what I'm saying. Yeah. When things are confusing, stop. Hammer time, parking and stopped. Yeah, there is a charge here for your vehicle being parked. Vehicle, that's private property, and it was parked. There you go. There's two there that, I'm gutted that I couldn't come up with better ones, but that's key. So what we do is say, well, it's not a vehicle and it definitely wasn't parked. What things park? Well, boats park and vehicles park. I might park my arse on the sofa in a bit and collapse after a massive day, a massive week,
I walk my
So
dog in the park.
yeah, arrested. You have a heart arrest. You are cardiac arrest. You get arrested. I said with the solar panels, battery and cells, cells and prisoners, battery cells, rights, assault and battery. They've done it on purpose. So your mind is a spaghetti junction when ours are straight square grids that are layered, millions of layers down. It's all filed and catalogued into squares, where your man's is just like spaghetti scribble that you're trying to articulate and work through the filing system of a scribbly ball of knotted, rubber bands. And what you need to do is straighten all that out and file it away. And, thank you for that. And to this man, Kevin, and others that put the due diligence and effort and time and 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning notices, files, losing files, phone calls, messages. We've tried to set up the email account twice and it's failed. We have a technical issue. We are under attack. We put ourselves and make ourselves as targets, and it's very hard. So this man needs a round of applause to take a bow. Anything I can do to repay him in the form of remuneration in the future, I give my word under the you lot as witnesses, public notice, is to be repaid a million times over, tenfold for the sacrifice and effort and applied love and logic. So not everybody agrees with everybody and not everybody backs everybody up, but certain things, to get letters like that, it's like Christmas come early, because it means we're making a difference. They're listening, they're recognizing liability, they're thinking about what they're doing, and they stop saying thank you. They've stopped saying thank you for your internet generated letters and they've started saying please. That's what it is. So well done, Kev. We love you, and all that are helping and doing that, and the others that are feeding back and sharing their, information with us and trusting us with their data. We haven't got the licenses. We're not trading. We're not in public. We're not breaking any laws. We're your brother in law, brothers and sisters in law in the hood. If the hood's not the street, the neighborhood, but the hood, the hooded area, the sisterhood, brotherhood, and there's no trade There's nothing illegal. There's no taxes to be paid. Quite the opposite. They owe us, and they know we're coming. So, all is, excellent, and there is room for more of you to join to take this up. Room, we need you now. We needed, 20 years ago. So, I'll yield again and take a breath.
Yeah, I'll
I
just
will I'll look at the
couple
room
of
as well. I
yeah,
will go to
just
the room and check that. Yeah.
actually. I just wanted to there's a couple of things in here. First, Mandy Media Mogul. Hello. Would love to hear your story, but you never told that you could have advance payments in the Universal Credit. Did you know that? You could have got it all advanced. And so if they failed to disclose that to you, it's caused you harm, loss, and injury, job done. But that's a fact. You can also get your payments. This monthly business is nonsense. You can get it down to weekly. More likely, you can get it at least fortnightly, as your old payments would have been. That's easy to do. Bet they haven't told you that either. But you can get money in advance. Obviously, you have to pay it back, but they can advance you, but they don't tell you. So that's failing to disclose, as far as I'm concerned. But I'd like to hear your story, because 5 claims all unsuccessful. I think I could do something with that, turn that around. So that would be, if you want to, at some point, contact us on SPLS Pro, and we can we can either have a chat, or we can exchange emails, or we can do whatever. But it would be interesting to hear your story there, because I think I'm pretty certain we could tip the toolbox in the works there and upset them a lot, which is what I like to do. Sorry, mate, I'm just flicking through just to see if I've seen anything else. That was a very interesting one. Yeah, back to Pongo again, mate, and clean the document we're going to upload. This it's usable, absolutely. I'll even check. I'll check it over myself, but I think you could just literally change over to Capita and put that where we've named the other entity. But I will check the document, and if there's anything not relevant, I'll remove it. But I think it's ready to go as it is. We're almost getting to the one size fits all in the way we've evolved it. So ultimately, you just take this one letter and send it to any of the entities that are trying to do stuff to you, and it will just put the kibosh on it. It'll put them in such an awkward position that I don't know how they're going to respond. The way I see it is, if you stop them assessing you, that's going to be a black mark, right? They have to put down that they can't assess you, and they get penalties for that. And after so many penalties, they lose the contract. Okay. So what choice have they got? They can't share the info. They can't. If they do share the info, you'll know, because you'll get sanctioned immediately by the DWP. So then you've got them in a breach of data protection for no consent to share the info. So what are their choices? They can't say we've assessed them and we failed them, because that would be an outright lie. So what are their options? Is their only option to go, let's pretend we've assessed them and send them, it's okay, let's press that button? Is that their only option? It's just my thought, because they've got to tell the DWP something. You see what I mean? They've got to say to them, oh yeah, we've either done it, or we can't touch him. But if they say they can't send the data, so you can't be sanctioned, because it's the DWP that sanction you, not Maximus Capita Atos. It's the DWP. So if they can't communicate what you've done to the DWP, you can't be sanctioned. That's the way I see it. So they would have no choice but to either lie, or the DWP would just have to put your claim through without being able to make any deductions. Just imagine that these assessment companies are like loss adjusters, okay, for an insurance company. That's what they are. And their game is to take as much money back off you as they possibly can. They're just like a loss adjuster.
Private receivers, they receive our
Yeah.
benefit privately and they handle it on our behalf. They take a cut and invoice the government because we don't know how to. Yes, you're right. I haven't got to the final gold hurdle yet, but we're very close and on the cusp of that. So only fools would rush in, but it's the principle here, isn't it, of who's in control of what, and having evictions and suffering there, and again, suffer, allow, which way you interpret that, but you do have harm, loss, common law, your rights and things. But if you don't know how to enforce them and write them, and we're all at a massive loss here. And I'm reading through the comments like, how funny how this mini stars serve have such a short cushion number, get massive pensions, and there's people here that know how to claim the benefits, except the ones that live here, the ones that are born here, set up, and the words are benefit enemy combatants, saying that it might be Muslims, but Muslims, those that support Islam and so forth, as far as I've seen in Birmingham, they are all out moving shops, taxis, Ubers, Addison, bloody, there's no issue. I see a mixed amount of benefit claimants when I'm out doing council visits and stuff in my daily, tradesman duties. So I see a lot of soup kitchens out there in Birmingham that are out on the Soho roads and the main drags, and they are not white skinned folk, but the darker skinned brothers and sisters that are offering the food, that are setting up. I'm not saying that the English white Anglo-Saxon home blood isn't patriotic and loving and affectionate and charitable, because you are. But what I'm saying is, when I see in Birmingham, statistically 99% of the time it's a Islamic faith, Islam, I self-law am master. Look
Mhm.
at the Persian Empire, maths itself, the Arabs, the scholars, life, the cradle, Eden being Eden, Eden, and the true Eden, and the city, and the Sumer, and the Babylon, and we've got a lot to thank the dark-skinned family for and be grateful for. They were well more advanced than it's led on. They weren't all as it's been depicted in history, and we've all got a lot to offer. So the enemy combatants are the Club of Rome. We are all family, and it isn't fair how the agents and the administrators give out the money. Now they do that. So comments like this coming to the chat room, we are victims here. It's not the state that's a victim. It's not the QE2 that's a victim. It's not the fucking Treasury that's a victim. It's none of these corpses that are victims. It's us that are victims of their political news, their financial, their austerity. Look at the politics now. I told you before, when David Davis and Boris Johnson stepped out of the world's most important fucking negotiation since the end of World War fucking II, that there was something funny going on. Just so happens that the Honey Monster's back in the show. Yes, and he's going for the top job. Now
Honey
tell me that wasn't, tell me that isn't fucking planned. Yes, that Tony the Tiger and the Honey Monster weren't backstage working this out, having a, oh, yeah, sure, it could be marvelous. And what we'll do, we'll make sure that the old bats, they're playing games. So the games are over. The armor of God is on. Kevin, we love you. Chat room, I'm sorry. Stop fighting and looking for these things. There's a lot more magic and things that connect us that we could be grateful for and using than I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying anybody's racist, but we can call upon our brothers and family to support us. I am sure of that. Much like the Rastafari and I, and the blood there that is thick. They share this continent. They're invited over to work when we made them, further slaves through the colonization, the colonial empire. Is to be embarrassed about. We owe them our lands. We owe them our fortunes. We owe them the ruby in that crown. We owe them the stones, the walls, everything that's artificially stolen. Yes, we should be embarrassed and ashamed, because I am, to be ashamed of part of this empire that's got this dark overlord, forcing it through. So I'm quite, stern here about the NFE combatants and the Muslim interjection, because I know it isn't true, and I know it isn't you lot speaking there. We are in a spiritual battle. Jones has hit it on the nose there. It's designed this way, and we're in a battle. The music, And if we don't stand up for it, we lose it. This is a real good, hard hitting, powerful, poignant. I feel honoured to be reading that. So thank you all. And yes, it looks like everybody's all right, Kev. Everyone's all
Yeah,
right.
I'll just say came on in there. Yeah, bank account when to play the game of commerce. Absolutely right. Walk into the bank with your birth certificate. They'll bite your arm. Oh, they'll snatch that out of your hand, even though it says not to be used for identity purposes. Amazing, really, isn't it? So not to be used for identity, but they love it. They'll have your bank. Yeah, they'll give you an account for that, Mister. Bastards.
Hmm.
But yeah, that Chris Stroke Pongo. Yeah, you've had a lot going on, mate. I can see that. Listen, we got some answers for you, brother. Don't worry about that. Get these shits out of your hair for a minimum of a couple of years at a time. Anyway, that's my experience. So yeah, there's plenty out there. Don't toe the line. You've only got an agreement with the DWP, and that's void ab initio, which means from the beginning. For anybody that doesn't know, for the simple fact that the DWP have not disclosed that they are a private business. Haven't disclosed all the terms and conditions and all the all the rules and regulations that they'll use against you when you signed. So the whole thing's null and void from the beginning. They're not who you think they are. They're not the government. They're a private for profit corporation. Hence how many people get sanctioned, because everybody they get off, they get a bonus for. So that gives you, somebody told me, or I read something, no, Tommy didn't tell me, I read something this last few days. I'm sure it said a week or so ago, in the 1 week, 55,000 people sanctioned on job seekers. 55,000.
Kev's Clinic.
Unbelievable.
Kev's Clinic. Yes,
Yeah, like Jerry.
I'd like to set up Kev's Clinic, and for everyone that he helps and whatever he does, he'd set up a fee schedule, and that's what I mean. We wouldn't take 50% of your entitlement benefit. We wouldn't touch that. We would dry the system with like no win, no fee, and we'd go down that way. They'd be forced to settle out of court or take a fine and go to court and endorse the fees and so forth with the battle that we put up. So there are surefire wins to win in this realm, this legal realm, and you haven't been shown the way. And we've tried to explain it tonight, and we've got further work to do here. We're not doing anything out of the law. In fact, we're trying to keep under what we've been told to do indirectly. What we like to do this, and we're gonna work forward with you on it. But it's not nice. And I'm reading through the comments here, and I'm watching the news, and I'm seeing the effects, and it will slowly, we will have an effect. And with regards to the ministers, the trustees, as I was mentioning earlier about Matt Hancock and Amber Roods, we've got what's that one now that was there's another lady's name. I was going to say Heather Locklear, but it's nothing like that.
Esther McVeigh.
Yes, she's trying to get on. There's all these names that we're going to have to get, and
yeah, she was. Well, she's a shit bag.
Yeah, she's got bad. I've emailed her before with regards to health and mental.
She was in charge of the DWP at one point, wasn't she?
Yes. You see, and these going to the jobs and the Home Office, the secretaries. We would like an army, a torrent of what I will do is personally invest any of my free time and all of it to help form notices that you can all personally download, or we'll email them for free, and we'll start our own little noise making campaign so we can introduce ourselves in a private realm and say, if you are struggling, you find it hard to deal with us, or you don't like to deal with us, or you think we're smelly and too peasant-like, subjects of yours to be even given consideration, love, emotion, and all of these things that the good God, Creator, Lord, consciousness, Yahweh, Jesus, Joshua, whatever you want to call it, any religion, any faith, yes, gave us, then here's an idea. We know what to do. We're good at dealing with us. we would like to propose that we come and help you out, and if you know, see how the hello goes, and if we get resistance, then we shall appoint ourselves through the current system. Here's the idea, Kev, that I was talking about with the you know, the legal registered trust, and we would say hello to the system in a legal registered protected way, with our army of ambassadors, trustees, and the ones that want to learn how to run these things and, you know, represent. And we would have the you know, academy running, so to speak, and then we would interface and take the grants, take the appointments, and slowly, within time, if it was done correctly, we would establish. And once we've established, and you know, then we'd grow. And once we establish and grow, and we've cross-pollinated these lot properly, they will appear in their communities, and it should become second nature that the way we think, the way we look, the way we research, the way we speak, the way we write, and the way that we bank and save and interface commercially with this realm remains a duality. And there is always two of us, and one of us is in the sea, and one of us is on dry land, and never again are we to be lost and, you know, unanchored and salvaged and so forth in the name of, you know, this system, because you know, it's game over. It really is. It's game over now. There's no going back, and there's been too much blood spilt. And these idiots, they're not idiots. They've gone to the most expensive schools in the realm, you know, and allegedly, you know, I don't know if that's worthy or not of mentioning, but the private education that they've had and they're privy to tells me that this is a contrived and measured way, and it's a pantomime, and it's your lives, and your lives are our, you know, our family lives, and that's what I'm saying. It's getting to the point now where it's been enough, and Kev's seen enough, I've seen enough. We want you to have it. We want you to step up and work with us now, and we won't take any of your money, and we'll enjoy putting the fees into
Yeah, it's not about money.
No, it
Never
isn't,
been
is
about
it?
money. It's about
No.
helping each other, helping people out. It always has been. That was exactly why Graham and I started our quest with the DWP, if you like. I'm joking when I call it a quest, but it has been a long road. But we always intended to prove what we were saying and then release it generally to everybody we could. And then obviously, Sovereign Paralegals, SPLS Pro came along during that journey. So that's why we ended up, and then we started seeing the importance of in the private, etc., etc. So that's why we've gone this way. But you know, it's just to say, there's so many tools out there for you to use, and my game is I use as many tools in the box as I can. I don't put a spanner in the works. I tip the whole box up, have it all in there, and just make sure you're writing in the right language. But then, as I say, you can stand inside and outside. So you can go, well, I'm going to use legislation for the mister or the missus. I'm going to use, because that's all the rules there. So the straw, my straw man, my person is going to pull them up on all the rules they're breaking there, and I'm standing the other side going, and I'm coming after you lawfully and in equity for harm, loss, and injury. So, you know, it gets really powerful. And then, as I say, DPA, GDPR, all sorts of bits and pieces. It just tightens it all down so that you don't give them an inch to move, and it's all totally valid, because all they want to do is either get you assessed and try and cut you off, or just cut you off, because that's their goal, is to cut you off. They get nothing for assessing you and passing you, so their goal is to cut you off. So we've got to put a stop to that. And the simple way is just put them on the spot. Here's the facts. Give us the contract we've got. If, you know, blah, blah, loads of things. I demand this from you. This is in the private. You can't share it with anybody. Hence the response we've had today from the latest letter, which is, please give us consent to send it to the DWP, which is, we can't do anything now. We don't know where to turn. If we send it to them, they'll just cut you off. But they've got no right to see it, because it's nothing to do with the DWP, as I covered earlier. So no consent, but you've got to do it in a nice way. You can't just go, Ah, fuck yeah, I'm not coming. That's no good. No, conditionally accept. Yeah, I'll come. More than happy to come and be assessed. Just under these conditions, can you just show me this, that, and the other, please? And I'd be more than happy. And then you point out a few other things and sign it off. Job done. Job done. So
It's
they've been
the
have been fighting back on us a little bit with a couple of people, but then the people that come in said they've had knockbacks, and now I'm wondering, because I know they didn't get the info from me, so now I'm wondering, well, did you get it from this other bloke? And you know, as I say, I don't know. It's evolving all the time. We're constantly looking at all the any new firms that come along. We're constantly going back and checking Atos, Maximus, Capita, and everything to see the latest Company's House and Dun and Bradstreet and all the rest of it to see what's going on, and then we adjust the documents to suit. Obviously, you can't just take it as read that 5 years ago they were such and such a company, that they haven't changed their status now. So you have to be diligent and check that what you're doing is correct. So, but there's so much out there now. You can make these notices, letters, DPA, GDPR, and it's just so powerful. They cannot rebut a single thing in there. If they answered one of the questions, you'd have them. It is totally unrebuttable. It is as good as an affidavit of truth, if you like. Although, if you know what I'm saying, it is totally unrebuttable. So there's nothing they can do with it. And now, as I say, we've done it in such a way where they've had to write to us and say, please give us consent to screw you up. No. That's between you and us, your corporation, and us in the private. You're not allowed to share it with anybody. Deal with it. So it's really going to be fun to see what they do with this, because however they turn, if you suddenly get sanctioned or they throw your claim out, you'll know that they've shared it with the DWP. So you've got them on a breach, and you go for them for compensation for all the harm, loss, and injury they've caused you. A daily rate, you can name it. In fact, in this new document, there's a rate in there for them doing actually that in the schedule of fees. Let me tell you, it's not cheap.
I'd like to read something about the comments about the Constitution, and that the Constitution is no longer present and it's taken out of law and under attack by the moment. I see I like this. Well done. Thank you, Scribes. You bang on. This is a relevant point. The Constitutions, and as far as I see, I'm going to read some notes that I've got saved that are from the internet. I dare say a wiki site or something, but to do with the Crown. That is the state in all its aspect within the jurisprudence of the Commonwealth realms, and their subdivisions legally ill-defined. The term has different meanings depending on context. It is used to designate the monarch in either a personal capacity as the head of Commonwealth, and he goes on a bit. And you've got like the executive. It's an organ, all right. When we talk about body corporates and corpuses, the executive is the organ exercising authority in and holding responsibility for the governance of a state. The executive executes and enforces law, and amongst other things, you've got legislature or legislatures of the United Kingdom. They're derived from a number of different sources from both within the UK and throughout what we're doing now with Brexit, the European membership, the ship of members, a member, part of a body again, a member, dismembered, all right, a membership of the European Union. The Parliament of the United Kingdom somewhat is I'd argue, the supreme legislative body for the United Kingdom, and the British overseas territory, military terminology with the territories. Obviously, you're aware we have the judiciary now, the places of battle. The judiciary of the United Kingdom are the separate judiciaries of the three legal systems in England and Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland. However, the judges of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, Special Immigration Appeals Commission, employment tribunals, employment, there's lots, crime, civil, devolution. you know, in the United Kingdom, devolution is the statutory granting. Devolution,
Hmm.
yeah, that's an interesting word I was researching that I put to one side, is the statutory granting of powers from the Parliament of the United Kingdom to the Scottish Parliament, the National Assembly for Wales. That's a word enough, isn't it? The National Assembly for Wales and the Northern Ireland Assembly and the London Assembly and their associated executive bodies. He goes on about the Scottish government. You've got administrative geography, which was very, very bizarre to find. That is the administrative geography of the United Kingdom is complex, multi-layered, and non-uniform. The United Kingdom, a sovereign state to the northwest of continental Europe, consists of England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. And it goes on more a bit there. You've got elections. There are 6 types of elections in the United Kingdom. Elections to the House of Commons of the United Kingdom, to devolved parliaments and assemblies, European Parliament, as you've got Tommy Robinson and Co. and everybody all that on about the European Parliament elections, local elections, mayoral elections, the police, crime commissioner elections, with so on. Go on then. Crown dependencies are 3 island territories off the coast of Great Britain that are self-governing possessions of the Crown: the Balwick of Guernsey, the Balwick of Jersey, and the Isle of Man. Offshore tax havens, I hear you cry. Shh. They do not form part of either the United Kingdom or the British Overseas Territories. Don't think we didn't see you, Babylon, Crown, Club of Rome, all right, amongst other places. The British Overseas Territories, or BOTS, are 14 territories under the jurisdiction and sovereignty of the United Kingdom. Who's not sovereign? You can't say sovereign. Shut up. There are remnants of the British Empire that have not been granted independence or have voted to remain. So I'll shut up there because I'll get carried away. Foreign relations, the last one. I'm getting good, aren't I? The diplomatic foreign relations of the United Kingdom are conducted by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, headed by the Secretary of State, I'm happy to say, and Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs. The Prime Minister and numerous other agencies play a role in. So it's very deep here. I'm going to read another paragraph and I'm shutting up. The British Constitution redirects here for the card game. The British Constitution Solitaire. It's a card game played with 2 decks of cards. Not going into that. As opposed to the majority of countries in the world, the United Kingdom does not have a codified constitution. The constitution is an aggregate of fundamental principles or established precedents that constitute the legal basis of a polity, an organization, or other type of entity, and commonly determine how that entity is to be governed. Instead of such a constitution, certain documents stand to serve as replacements in lieu of one. Around 45% of English vocab is of French origin, most coming from the Anglo-Norman spoken by the upper classes in England for several hundred years after the Norman conquest, before the language settled in what became modern English. There's more to that, but these texts and their provisions therein are considered to be constitutional, such that the Constitution of the United Kingdom, or British Constitution, Constitution is an aggregate of fundamental principles of regular, haven't I, good with that, may refer to a number of historical and monumentous laws and principles, like the Acts of Union 1707. The Acts of Union were 2 Acts of Parliament: the Union with Scotland Act 1706, passed by the Parliament of England, and the Union with England Act, passed in 1707. Acts are for actors and in the public, everyone remember. And the Parliament of Scotland, they put into effect the terms of the Treaty of Union that had been agreed on the 22nd of July 1706. So that's your Acts of Union 1707. There's an Acts of Union 1800. There's parallels Acts of the Parliament of Great Britain and Ireland, blah, blah, blah. They came into effect on 1st of January 1801. They formulate the country's body politic. The body politic is a medieval metaphor that likens a nation to a corporation, okay? That's why we're in a court, which had serious historical repercussions throughout recent history, and therefore giving the crown as a legal entity today, the Crown as executive is regarded as a corporation sole or aggregate, like your football aggregate, but a different type of, like you're differently mixing building aggregates mixed up everywhere there, an aggregate, a corporate entity. I'm not going to go on about body politic. This term, UK constitution, is sometimes said to refer to an unwritten or uncodified constitution. An uncodified constitution is a type of constitution, like I read above before. Yes, I'm not going to repeat that. You rewind the video. The British Constitution, or BC, primarily draws from our sources statute law passed by the legislature and public law, common law, okay? And I've written by here we go. In law, common law is that body. I've been very careful with these words and I've copied them down, so they're not mine. I've just been careful which ones I'm reading from. In law, common law is that body of law derived from judicial decisions of courts and similar tribunals. The defining characteristics of common law is that it arises as precedent in cases where the parties disagree on what the law is. The common law court looks to past precedential decisions of relevant courts. So that is what we're saying, that the public law, when we're talking of acts, constitution, and it's all in the public there, that's for your public bodies, and that's your common law. There is also another element of law, which is the do not cause harm, injury, and loss, but they are already encapsulated within the public laws, like your hate crimes. And we don't need hate crimes as man, because we know not to mash you up and to rob you and to do stuff and to put cameras up your skirts and take pictures of your knickers when you're not looking, because we know it's just dirty and wrong and pervy. So we don't need to make hate crimes and public disorder crimes about looking up your skirt when you're not looking, because me, Kev, and the fam wouldn't do that. And if we caught anybody doing that, we'd be there to tell them in the street, now then, mate, have you got a camera on a stick and are you looking up that woman's skirt? What the fuck are you doing here? Come over here and let's have a chat. That's how it goes down. No public law, no nothing. I'm sure the woman would appreciate the intervention, or the man doing it to another, however it is. At the minute it was put to us like that, certain things we have fallen down. Common law is harm, injury, and loss. We will always say that. The dotcom will, it will always be written. The 10 Commandments is where it comes from in this Justinian deception and the book of New Testament, Old Testament. It comes way before that in the Hermeticism and the Hermetic principles of life and the fundamental laws and natural law. So don't think that we don't know. It's just that in this realm, your common law is your body of law that's derived from the public judicial realm, the acts and how they continuously evolve, like what we have to do to keep up with it. So they're derived, established through court judgments, parliamentary, also the acts and the public. The Parliament of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Ireland, Wales, commonly known internationally as the UK Parliament, British Parliament, the listed businesses, don't forget, body corporates, or Westminster Parliament. So it has a lot of names like America. And domestically, simply as Parliament, is the supreme legislative body of the United Kingdom. So parliamentary conventions and works of authority. Look what works of authority are books written by constitutional theorists. Yes, that are authoritative guides to you. Who the hell writes? We need to write works of authority, to be fair, but certainly similar to a constitutional document. It also concerns the relationship between the individual and the state and the functioning of the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. So you've got a lot of, parliamentary sovereignty. It's a concept in the constitutional law of some parliamentary democracy. It holds that the legislative body has absolute sovereignty and is supreme over all other government institutions, including executive, judicial bodies. It also holds the legislative body may change or wait, I'm going to load that bit up now. Legislative may change or repeal any previous legislation, and so it is not bound by written law. In some cases, even a constitution or by precedent. So a parliamentary sovereignty gives them the supreme, concept to hold absolute, and it's it can change or repeal any previous legislation and is not bound by written law. Wow! And in some even so that gives you an idea now. When they say in an international level that the parliament's pissing around and they've got the power, but this is why they're like, we might need to have another referendum, and this is why you have, and also you have these things that I said about president, as in Trump, and precedent is there's another word called precedent. In common law legal systems, precedent is a principle or rule established in a previous legal case that is either binding or persuasive for a court. We call it case law as well sometimes, or a court or tribunal when deciding subsequent cases with similar issues or facts. Common law legal systems place great value on deciding, according to constitution and consistent case law as well. But that case law in favour of, and that's why it works out. But the case law, sometimes it goes against us. It's not always a great thing, So there's a lot to go on when you say the constitution, okay, and the battles, and the kings and what's gone off, and many states have sovereign legislature, including the UK, Finland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland. The dog.
Hang on.
Barbados, Jamaica, Papua New Guinea, Israel, and the Solomon Islands. The Solomon Islands is a sovereign state consisting of 6 major islands and over 900 smaller islands in Oceania, lying to the east of Papua New Guinea. One of the favourite Future Sound of London tracks, Kev, I had back in the day, that was Papua New Guinea. Northwest of Vanuatu and covering a land area of 28,400 square kilometres. If you've never heard of the Solomon Islands, interesting place I found. I yield.
Bloody hell. I thought you're never going to. I'm just going back a little bit. I just want to, Alan's put a question in there, Alan Richardson. Can the DWP force us to share our data with Maximus or whoever? Well, here's the fact. When you sign your ESA 1 and that little stupid booklet they send you every now and again, the ESA 50, this is if, this. I'm talking about ESA, but this is just in general. Here's the fact. Even if you agreed on those forms to let them share your data with third parties, under DPA and GDPR, you'd be able to get that removed because the people they're sharing the data with are not relevant to the data that's being shared. If they're trying to share medical information with a company that isn't qualified to do anything, then you'd be able to stop that under GDPR because it would not be relevant. So, yeah, we know they do, but the fact is, you should be able to stop it, or even if the agreement you signed and it's all we know, it's void ab initio, blah blah blah. But you've got the clean hands. You've signed it in good faith. So it's in your favour. So they're sharing it with companies who have no right or qualification or anything to look at that sort of data. So under the DPA and GDPR, you'd be able to put a stop to it. So the long answer is they do share it, but you could really screw them up. So, as I say, that's what all these tools are there for. So that's a sort of quick answer to that, Alan. I know that when you sign, because one of the things I did with them is basically, when you sign the ESA 50, the ESA 1, it says you agree that we may ask any of the people you've named on this form for any relevant information. Okay, fine. But that's all it says. So what they say is, so what I did was I went and removed the consent from my doctor to share my data with anybody at all. He had to get express written consent for me to do that. And so the DWP went to the doctor and said, "Can we have his medical records?" The doctor went, "No, I haven't got consent. I've got to get written consent." So the DWP said, "Oh, well, we haven't been able to get any data." And I said, "Well," and they said, "Well, you've agreed to it, us getting you." I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "I agreed that you can ask." That's all I agreed to, that you can ask. It doesn't go on to say, "And you will give consent to your doctor to release that information." Doesn't say that. And they said, "But it's implied." I said, "If everything was implied, why would you write the rules down? You wouldn't need to. You just imply everything." So
That's
that's
right.
why it's down.
That's the one. Yeah,
And
this is the
said,
accurate detail,
yeah,
and accuracy,
it,
isn't it? There.
yeah, it specifically says, "You agree we may ask anybody you've named in this," basically anybody you've named in this form, like your consultants, your doctors, whatever. But it doesn't go on to say, "And you agree, and you will give them consent to release your data." It doesn't say that. So you're not breaking anything. You're going, yeah, you go and ask anybody on that list. You go and ask them what you like. But I'm not going to consent to them telling you anything. That's what it's their rules. Their rules. So that's basically, as I say, you've got to read what you're signing. And anybody that starts looking at etymology or is even got a little bit interested in this law stuff, once you start understanding words, okay, you'll read letters in a completely different way. And even little clauses that you're signing against. And that's what it says. It says you may. It doesn't, they can't imply, well, it means you have to go and give consent. Well, then you have to write that down. You can't add it on now. That's non-full disclosure.
Yeah, it is crap that we haven't had, that we can't get access to all of those tax payment. You know, when they say, oh, when you're self-employed and when you're doing this and you're earning money and you're running in commerce, you need to pay taxes. But when you're trading in private and you're doing stuff and you're not operating in commerce in the public, you've got all your rights reserved and you're not affecting anybody, you're not contracting, you're not submitting, and things turn around. You become the boss of things, but you don't get your pot of gold straight away. You have to work out who to go and who to, work it. That's where we're at now. Trust me, it makes me sick. All of these tax dollars, petrol dollars, sweat equity, fines, fees, and forfeitures going to the kings of the AA, and where these profits go and what they do with them, the dark, dirty treatment that they give the children, assets, sons and daughters, and how this is happening. I don't defend it and I don't agree with it. I want you all to have a universal income where you don't have to go and be a slave and you've got a credit and you use your thumbprint for shopping and you put it on an app. And my dream, our dream, a potential future would be, we use credits, we have credits, credit card. It's not money, it's not cash, it's not anything but credit. Your credits, you're getting credits, chips and blocks and bits and data and AI. So let's embrace it, but let's associate the Vatican and the Treasury and Her Majesty, these departments and the banking sector and London, and let's ask God here and say he reckons that we should have a share of this, and you lot, if you carry on, are going to kill the earth. It's got that bad that the children of the realm are boycotting school and telling us all that shit's going down and we're idiots and we can't manage it. And they're telling us, making songs and doing stuff, and these artists are making songs and putting all these things together, but we keep changing the artist, but we're not changing the record and the track. That's what we're doing here over time. The track is getting changed, and we need access to these accounts that are given to us, because the resources, the mineral resources, and the energy resources of this planet are ours by right, by claim of right, and that's where we must focus. I'm going to be offline after admin and all the email catch-ups and the .com and stuff, because I'm going to focus on documents and going back to London and seeing a the master of the roles. Now, this isn't the man that owns Subway chain of fast food outlets. That's not that. I'm not master of the roles that way, but there's a master of the roles that we need to go and have a chat with. We need to compel a few of these, ministers and secretaries and generals and so forth, and to let them, not so we complain and get the MPs to do, the job for us. We will do the job, and we will put a point and give you the tools and the instruments, and maybe do stuff en masse and in a community area, and get numbers of communities and organize. This system is organized in killing us and stripping us of our rights. We need to get organized into, reservation of our rights and defending our blood. If that sounds good to you, and I can't wait for the future.
Can I just jump back in the room? Yeah, Clint, it is May's husband. That's GW Farmer that are growing on British sugar property, mate. Yeah, that is definitely, yeah, he's definitely involved in that. Yeah, so weed's illegal in this country unless you've got some money, and then you can buy yourself a license to grow it, especially if you're the Prime Minister's husband. Brilliant. Yeah. Nice work if you can get it.
Well, in public, and growing anything that's controlled or licensed has to be, as the system says, licensed. But in private, under your own steam, non-breach of common law, I'm not telling you anything here. I'm just putting a situation out there now. Yeah,
they're taking away the right. Okay, they're taking away a natural right that you have an absolute right to do, and selling it back to you.
Yeah,
exactly like you did with your license, with your car driving license.
2 words: lie and sense.
Yeah, a contradiction, no less.
Yeah, we've got.
Or is it lie equals sense? CENTS.
Yeah, either way, we've got a right to the assets and the collateral that have been taken into trust, because we haven't worked out, in a good book there. I'm not going biblical, but the cross references, the only commandments we was given. All right, here's one for you, Bible lovers and spiritual ones out there alike. This one is the one that sends shivers down my spine. It's quite ironic that it's Jesus that says this in the Testaments. He gave a commandment, all right? There was one commandment from God, I believe, of go forth and populate the earth, yeah? Go forth and multiply, paraphrase. Jesus, he said, let thou not be deceived. That was a commandment, all right? Now listen, that was a commandment. Then there aren't many commandments given in that. This is what I mean. Andy's warped all this biblical shit's not shit, but it was kind of a little bit like, my brain, I know it's right, but there's too much. You can't possibly scour the Bible, Dave, now after all these books and dictionaries and acts and statutes. The last thing I need is to go back into there where I was 10 years ago, and I was suicidal, and I read it all and did my research with everything, and I thought, no, I've got the code from that, of which I thought I needed, one of the 7 codes in the Bible. And I went back, and it just jumped out and slapped me in the face, and I kept seeing it when I was closing my eyes, and a little voice kept saying, let thou not be deceived. I'm like, shut up, I already know about it. Why do you keep saying it to me? Why won't you let it go? It was ringing in my head. When that happens, I think I just have to let you know that there's a commandment there. And he does say, don't be deceived. That's the Son of God, that angry God who has favorites and that's angry, and whatever. So, let thou not be deceived.
Yes, right.
And letters.
Maxim, let he who should be deceived be deceived.
Kev, that's the one. Maximus and capital.
There you go.
Hear us. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say something to Alan. I forgot what it is now. It'll come back to me in a minute.
I need to eat. I'm very hungry, fam. I've run around, been on the shift all day, been to see Matthew, come back.
Yeah.
I'm famished. I haven't eaten a lot, and I'm conscious that it's late. I'd like to.
All right. Yeah. All right. I've just forgotten again. What was I just going to say to Alan? I can't believe it. It's my brain. Alan, I think it would come under legitimate use. I don't think they'd be able to prove a legitimate use for it under GDPR, mate. And I think there's something in there. You probably know more about this than me, actually, brother. There's something in there where you can stop it being transmitted until they, or anything being shared or done until they prove legitimate use. I think it puts a absolute stop on it, mate. You might. I'm 99.9% sure. So yeah, you could question it on under legitimate use or something like that. They wouldn't be able to. Uh, there's no way they could say that they require it because they're not who they say they are, and the data they want to pass is not relevant to them. So, as I say, I think legitimate use, something like that, it'll come under something similar to those words, but something to do with legitimacy, mate. Hope that helps a little bit more.
The 12 men, common law involves witnesses. 3 men can be witnesses. 12 men, you're talking about a jury there came on, but I like it. We need to talk about a seminar in possibly in Surrey then. Thank you to Kamon for that interesting and exciting phone call we had for a good hour and a half, 90 minutes. We were jabbing on, so good to meet you, Kamon. Thank you, and we will get back on that. I'll put some stuff on the dotcom about this. We'll move forward, and always in the flesh, we can accomplish more than we can on these chats and on the digital realm. So he's also saying England is sovereign in this land with a constitution and a trust. Yes, bang on. I agree. Also known as the Commonwealth of England. Again, yes, the Commonwealth, the wealth. It's not all that common though, is it? Look at that word. I'm not having a go. I agree, but wealth, common, none of it. Common market, Ted Heath, the what was it called before? The EEC, the European Economic Common Market. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. You see, and it was all, and everybody said it was the end then, and doom and gloom, and we're going round in circles, and I'm seeing lots of numbers by the scribes, but we've got a lot to look forward to and announce, and see what Josh and Martin are doing, linking up with Santos. He's told me he's not very well. He's gone down ill health and took a spate for the worst, I think. So I'm going to try and have a chat when he's good and healthy and ready, personal one, and then try and bring him to the channel for the review of Santos and Rex. If you haven't seen the live league YouTube channel where Santos and Rex have an amazing chat, it's one of the best chats I've heard since I first found my mate Chuck, that you're going to meet soon. So yeah, have a look at that. I recommend. Kev, do you want to close it down and finalize, repeat anything important, and then I'm going to munch and crash.
As I say, if you particularly about the DWP stuff and the most up to date stuff we've used, which has been used, as I say, it's been used in the last month. They've only responded in the last 2 weeks or week or so, and then it's all gone mad in the last couple of days. So go and have a listen back to it. But as I say, it's all there for you. I'm just to say worried about people that have put out the wrong stuff for the wrong thing. I don't know. I hope
beyond our control. It's beyond our control. We do
out of our control. But it just amazes me that people haven't listened.
Because a mixture.
I've made it very clear all the way along what that was for. And
it's not on us. There's no liability. We're not in it for that. But it's just we broadcast it. They'll tell others. They're quite sharp, and these lot look after the family. Looks after each other. We don't burn each other. We don't rip each other off. This isn't a mafioso. It may have an Italian surname and lineage, but we do business honourably and ethically. The days of sleeping with fishes and horses' heads and these bullying times have gone. But unfortunately, there's a remnant that still lingers, and we are chasing it down at present. So, disinformation, agents of finance companies. Has anybody seen the panorama? Was it tonight at 9 p.m. that there was the coverage of? I'm not saying it's a heralded report. It's a program to scare the shit out of the middle class, basically, is what it is. But I'd like to see the numbers and statistics of how many and what's going off. The deaths, the family in Sheffield, the deaths of many, and there will be more. We would like to one day be proactive and see the problem and implement changes to stop that problem. This is what, it might sound abstract to everybody. Some of the, not you, but the main members of the body, corporate there, the executives, as I've said, and the principals. It may seem foreign to them to think in advance and plan ahead. That's what they are employed and take a handsome wage and benefits to do. There has been a ship's captain. Did we all enjoy hearing that news? I howled. I nearly let out a little bit of wee, if I'm honest, because somebody has been taken off a ship, a captain, in just before the president of America lands. England, the United Kingdom's military decides to court-martial a captain of a boat for using his car for transport in between the ports. He was transporting himself in his transportation, and he wasn't supposed to be using it at that time. It was a Ford Galaxy. It wasn't a limousine. It wasn't a Humvee. It had no lasers or weapons or rockets. The man in the services was used for, allegedly, according to reports, a Ford Galaxy, and he wasn't authorized to. He's gone back. He thought he got away with it. He's then been not court-martialed, but detained, taken in for questioning, flown off the boat, and basically belittled. There's talk saying that this is just, the system gone mad. So humorous news amongst, something to make you smile there. That captain's, he's not a criminal. He's a victim of a policy, and the policy is taken into effect. And it doesn't matter. You see, sometimes who you think you are. I went to work this week for a prince. All right. His name is on paper, Kev. You saw the evidence, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
That public office of that, well, I said that government, that private corporation masquerading as a government office, wrote to him as a prince. And the point is, I had authority from the prince to talk about him, and everything's all, with his consent. But he was in a place which was 76 square meters of mold in one council house. And your council house has probably got 500 square meters in it, yeah, maximum. So we're talking nearly one fifth of his accommodation was black with mold that's toxic and cancerous. Now he had a title of prince. So it doesn't matter what you think you've got and who you think you are. It doesn't matter. The system will leave you to rot in your own brown stuff if you do not have the tenacity. Now he could, he looked like a man that was with it the first time I met him, and he handled himself well. The second day he attacked me verbally and accused me of many things when I entered his home again, and to do the continuing, wasn't a one dayer. This was a 2-man job. They sent me down, so it took me 2 days to do that effectively. I'm not just going to throw paint at black mold and say it's done. I'm a man under God, a creator, and I need to do it honorably and consciously. So 2-day affair. He attacked me the second day, and I did the best job I could for him. But I had an emotional week this week, a long one. Seen many a crazy thing. A lot of synchronicities, and what Kevin finished it off with after a truly amazing, eye-opening week in the news, in my personal area, in our own developments and personal areas of work. So truly a strong. This strong has been a strong, if you get me, fam. Yeah.
It certainly has. It certainly has. Yeah, a real revelation of a week. And as I say, just the last few hours as well. That was a bit more disturbing, for me anyway. Just the possibility.
Oh wait, and I've just seen a 5-mile silver. Don't let this one slide.
Oh yeah.
5-mile silver. Shit, you not. It was. Didn't see.
Did you photograph it?
No, I couldn't get nothing because I was
Oh,
on the hangout.
oh.
Which is a motor road scroller, roller type.
Proof or you're talking bollocks, all right? I want to see photos or you're full of shit.
You've got my word as my bond. You don't ever doubt me on that. I don't often see anything ever. I can't believe I was on my own live hangout with brother and living legend KP Nuts. And I saw, if you are out there and you see anything like, those in the gadget shop, you can get them lights that have bubbles or glitter in them, and they stand up. There's a tube, and you can get some quite long, nice bright ones. I think most department stores, high street, budget B&Ms, the range have upstairs at Christmas tubes that are clear, that are very big, and they're either filled with water or air and glitter and stuff. That's what it looked like. If you're out there and you see, please somehow get in touch with me and photograph if you can. If you've got good cameras, I urge you at this point in time with the solar, things that were astrotheological and the research we're doing, it points up the history before they were looking up. So if you can, please focus. If you have the time, extra more up, and you do see a long bloody train type thing moving silently and gliding that looked like it was one of them tubes, but on a horizontal basis, all formulated together, and it was just full of glittery stars. I've seen nothing like it ever. That's the best I can describe it. On my meat and two veg, and on my soul, I give it to you. That's what was appearing in the sky there, and I'm very happy and excited it was then and there. But pictures would be good. Any kind of reports from the UK would be excellent. Anglo, brothers and sisters to find. That's not the topic of this hangout, but it was just an extra. Maybe it was the ones above saying hello. Maybe they're listening in and we're giving them hope, and they've just sent a shitload of warriors down from the stars to go. This little sprinkling of astro stardust for the soft stars and the man down there will just be what they need. Who knows?
Yeah, Clint, I've got that, mate. Dave will forward you another email address for me, which you can contact me on. You can also find me on Facebook. I've got a white SPLS Pro logo. You won't miss me if you're on that platform, and then we can always chat through that, and call through that, and whatever. That's that. Anything you like. Alan, I knew it. Well done, mate. Thanks for naming that down there. I'd have had to have gone to it to find it. I knew roughly where it was, but I couldn't have recalled. That's great, Alan, and I like that. Yeah, objective proof of legitimacy. Absolutely correct. Thanks for putting that GDP stuff up there, mate. That's excellent. Thank you. Who else did I just want to say anything to in here? I was just having a quick look through. I think we've covered it. Yeah, go on, Ola.
Yorkshire tea, though.
Oh, that's all right.
A pint of it at this time.
Yeah, I'm going and making a coffee, actually. Because I'm going to...
Oaty biscuits. Come on. I really am hungry. We've got to go. Let's wrap up. I'm so starving, everybody.
Listen, thanks, everybody. We get the docs up. As Dave was saying, listen, I've got loads of documents here that I've done for people, and I can post what the results of those were. So I'll redact lots of, and it will cover all sorts of stuff. Utilities, taxman, blah, blah, blah. Just done one with a brother. Won't keep you a minute. Just done one with a brother for a debt. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but 15 grand. They've come out of the woodwork for, and I'm like 99% sure we've got them shut down. We've asked them a couple of questions, and I think they're going to come back and give us the answers we want, and then that's it, bish bash bosh. So as stuff like that gets proved, obviously I'll redact stuff and put documents up so you can just so people can look and see how we set stuff out and what the sort of things we say and how we use it, and you can put stuff together yourself just by looking at a few of these things, and making your own unique version, if you like. So that all that will be forthcoming. These documents will go up, the ones we're talking about today for P.I.P, and I will do a updated Maximus version for WCA. And as I say, Capita, I think pretty certain you could just literally replace if Capita are doing P.I.P, you could just replace them in the document that will go up for Atos. But I'll double check that. If anything needs adjusting, I will do that as well, put it up there. So that it'll all be there for you to look at. And my advice would be, don't use them as templates. Even if you take them and you juggled questions around, maybe move some of the paragraphs around, you could use the same stuff, but make it a bit unique, change some of the words, use your own words. But stick, it's there. It's there for you to look at and decide what route you want to take. And I obviously will report back. I'm hoping there's going to be some sort of development in the next few days, one way or the other, for this guy, that they've just asked consent to send it to the DWP for. The only godsend, which I've got a little bit of relief about at the moment, is he hasn't actually got anything at the moment. That's a bastard. So he hasn't actually got anything to lose.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more helpful at times. But as I say, they are starting to fight back. But this is the latest version of everything we're doing or have done. It's easily transferable over to all the other entities, which I will do in the next week or so. I'll get them done and we'll get them up there so you can see it all. But I think what we've done this time, and say with that response, I don't see their next move's going to be really interesting. Really interesting to see what they do. Anyway,
well, when you are stood in the red corner, private, self-governing, sovereign is the last word that comes to mind there. You don't need to say sovereign at all, but private, self-governing man. Who are you? Are you Mr. David? No, I'm not Mr. David. Are you Mr. Jeremita? I'm not Mr. Jeremita. Are you David Jeremita? Ah, well, nearly, not far off. What is your name? My name, I don't have a name. I have a calling. You see, detail, accuracy, perception, and how you perceive yourself. So again, it's just a simple change. What is your name? I don't have one. My calling is commonly known. Common law. You love your common law so much. I am David, commonly known as Disco, whatever, David of the house, of the family, of the estate, and so forth and so on. And this is how you must start to look at things now. So it's just a matter of a simple adjustment to their trickery. And when they've got 2, 3, 4 meanings to a word, this is how it affects us. And when we don't realize a home, a property, a habitat, a dwelling, certain things are public, certain things are private, certain things are military, certain things are ecclesiastical, certain things are legal, and certain things, you'll be pleased to know, family, are in fucking law. That's where we lie. Don't you have anybody tell you or think anything other than the law, consciousness, creator, wisdom, logic, harmony, vibration, Thoth, Tesla, Eric Dollard, crazy old men such as the Winston Shrouds, we've looked at that guy there, Romley Stewart in Australia, lots of many from all over the realms, and the dark, deep satanicness of that man there. That Jordan Maxwell, the living legend, is another Kev. I think we're going to aspire to be like these in our old age, some kind of spitting image characters there, where we'll have too much to spew out, or I don't know, in our private areas, like when we get together and have gatherings. And I don't know, I'd like to do seminars, and this man will never stop speaking myself. So I will always be doing something, even when we get to the lands of the milk and honey, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to it. And just want to say thank you. We're honoured, we're privileged. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of time, not much sleep, no dividends. I'd like Kev's clinic. Wow, the gloves of equity, the common law agent in the corner there, the common law public, Westminster, Law Whitehall, officer representative hasn't done very well tonight. He's taken a lot of ribs, and I'd say as the referee overall, that it's a conclusive knockout for the private man with the equity gloves in the red corner, and it's a fast defeat again for the skinny little, pale, stale, male, racist, Zionist, Kabbalist. There's lots Jesuit. There's many forms it takes here. Dark overlord of this energy that's behind this empire, much like Star Wars and that old man, the Emperor. Yes, the dark side. Do not choose the dark side and the money. Because guess what? There is no money. There is no money. There's only value in what you do, in your deeds, in your time. That's it. That is it. You chase the money. You chase a fake image, don't you, Kev?
Promise to pay.
If we can get some funding, and anybody wants to help us, we will open clinics up in any community. I saw a building today on Woodseat, Sheffield, that used to be the Midland Bank. It has 3 floors. It's on Chesterfield Road, on Sheffield 8. and there's nobody in it. I says, that used to be a bank. Hey, up, Matt, we could liberate that. We could have a community clinic right there. I says, we could, but we get done for so many things, but it's worthy of trying, these things in desperation. If we don't get something fast, and I will be setting up somewhere, in conjunction soon and trialing it out. I have 3 months of no work coming up. I'm going to be an agent for hire. If you want to conduct and have this in a community or seminars or anything in general, then now, and with the sciences and logic and everything we've got, Kevin is up for something. I'm up for something. Kevin's health is a first priority, and privately, he's mentioned that.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Hey.
You disappeared for a second then, mate.
Oh yeah, I'm saying your health is a priority first of all.
Yeah, well, yeah, they sent me off for some rare genetic testing today. Well, they've taken a lot of blood out of me today, so I probably look paler than normal. But yeah, that's my health wise is it's not brilliant. Hasn't been for a long time, but it's not going to get any better. That's a fact. Most of the shit wrong with me is degenerative. Just the way it is. But yeah, that can be a bit of a strain. But it's all good. We get through it. So if we could get more people involved and maybe get more of a grasp of what we're doing, then maybe we could farm some of the work out and all speak to them. But I say we're trying to put everything down there for you to just use it yourself or take it and use it for your family, whatever. As I say, as is or not, that the choice is yours. But it's there for you to look at and take stock of and make an informed decision on whether it's right. I believe it's right in every way to use that sort of stuff because you're being deceived by these agencies. So as far as I'm concerned, you should never consent to any of them. And you should not. I know it's easy for me. Well, it's not easy for me to say, but you've got to face the reality that they might kick back and force you into tribunal, and you'll have to get. You might not have to go to the tribunal. I think the stuff we'll be putting in now would be powerful enough that you'll probably just get a letter from the tribunal saying we've already made a decision in your favour. No need to come, or we get it just done as a paper hearing. But it will be that powerful. And the statements made will be unrebuttable that they'll have to just go, okay, because it will be clear that we're not consenting to idiots and we've previously been assessed by so-and-so.
They're not idiots. It's just that they're designed, they're paid to get you back into a place of slavery. So that's it. You can't have any free money.
Well,
there's no such thing as that. You've got to earn it or you credits or doesn't matter, you've paid taxes and whatnot. It's the first time you've got on your arse. You see how they are. They employ an agent to get you back into the slave train. So you end up, drinking, taking drugs, getting a workaround, managing with it. Good
that's
Lord.
what you're doing it for, isn't it? I mean, you're the one, if you've gone to work and paid your taxes and your national insurance and all the rest and all the other taxes, that's me, the man that's physically done that. And I've paid into a system that I have to use a bit of paper to access. So that's why I'm the beneficiary ultimately, because I'm the one that put the sweat in to pay all those things. And now I require my entitlements, which I have to use my person for. That's where it's all. That's what's going on here. And then they're trying to deny your person. You go, well, it's not the person that's paid it, is it? He's just there to interface in your realm. That's all he's there for.
We're not getting into voluntary tax and the fact it's gone out and come back in and been reintroduced. And a sovereign man cannot be taxed, but a agent, citizen, person, employee can be.
Yeah.
When this is the status, standing, and capacities. We're almost on the cusp of something magical and beautiful here. So thank you for the ride of those that have been on it from the beginning and middle and that are on it now at the end, near the end. But Kev, everybody, I do need to eat. And
right, you go, bro.
You can stay on if you want, Kevin. We can carry on chatting, or we can get off and
No,
call it a
I mean,
night. I mean,
it's 1:30 again. I need to start winding down. I'm up to 3:30. If I hadn't done a broadcast, now I'm all wired. Now I've been chatting, so I'm going to probably be up a bit later tonight.
all right, then, yeah, we'll call it a day. Nice one, and
Listen,
we'll chat again tomorrow.
thanks to everybody in the chat room. You've all been brilliant. Jerry, John, Alan, Cameron, Lisa, Mr. Mensa,
Pongo, Jerry,
yeah, Clint,
John,
Alan.
Josie.
Quite a few in tonight. Fly on the wall, I see earlier. Albert was obviously around. I haven't seen much of Albert tonight, but he was in early. I know that. I'll give it.
Clint, yeah, Jesse Clint, whoever it was. Clint, yeah.
Yes, that's Clint on the Jesse profile. Yeah. Yeah, that's it then. Thank you ever so much. Great interaction again. Hope it's been informative. You know where we are if you need us. Love to you all. Cheers.
Love you, Kevin. Love you, Scribes. Thank you. Peace, love, and light. And what an excellent cast. I'm so happy. Well done. Well done. Yes, I. Kev, good night. Fam, good night.
Night, Dave. I'm closing now. See you all later. Peace and love.
See you later. Let's go. Ciao, bello.